Hi, welcome back guys. This is your friend, the Pika Fanfics. Back with amazing fanfiction. This is the series of What If Ash Trained by Two Champions. Now before starting, please give this video a like and subscribe to the channel if you want more videos like this. Now let's get into the fanfic. Ash Ketchum looked around his room. It was only 6:10 in the morning, yet he was wide awake and staring at Sliff Company. Intermediate trainer backpack he had received as of last Christmas. The backpack was big in size, slightly bigger than any ordinary travel backpack, and completely waterproof, fireproof, and very durable. And if the size was big enough, the inside was bigger. Somewhat still out of there, Ash moved to fill the backpack with necessity. First, clothes. 5 t-shirts, 3 short-sleeved, 2 long-sleeved, 2 jackets, 1 long-sleeved, 1 short-sleeved, 3 tracking pants and 2 pairs of shorts, 1 swimming trunk, and 7 change of underwear. Did he put too much? No. Not really. He doesn't know how long he gonna hit the road. Next is, some books perhaps. He hasn't finished reading some, and he might make notes in the future. You know, preparation for Indigo League and all. So, 1 copy of Berries, What Are They and Their Functions, Cooking for Dummy, How to Not Explode Kitchen or Setting a Forest Fire, Kanto, Geography, History, Pokemons, and First Aid for Dummy went to his bag, as well as 3 notebooks the size of A5 and 1 pack of writing utensil. He saddles a collapsible fishing rod to the side and put the spare string in a compartment, just in case of the string snap. Next, come in potions. 7 bottles of normal potions, 3 bottles of super potions, 2 antidotes, 2 burn heal, and 2 paralysis heals. Ash would like to add freeze heal, but unless Cerulean Gym has dual type ice water or he encounters someone with ice type Pokemon on the way, he won't need them for now. Then, Pokeballs. Ash stared at the collection of small things that were very important and vital in his journey as a Pokemon trainer. Gulping nervously, he counted them. 20 ordinary Pokeballs, 2 Premium Ball, 3 Great Ball, has slightly higher capture rate than ordinary Pokeball, 2 Net Ball, which had higher capture rate if used against Water type and Bug type, 2 Lure Ball, has high capture rate for Water type Pokemon, preferably one you fished out, 1 Moon Ball, which was 4 times as useful as normal Pokeball if used at Pokemon which evolution using Moonstone but half as effective to other Pokemon, 1 Heavy Ball, the heavier the Pokemon, the more efficient capture rate would be, and 1 Fast Ball, for speed Pokemon, total 30 Pokeballs. 30 small, precious things, that ate up his saved allowances. A single normal Pokeball cost 200 Pokedollars, a single Great Ball cost 600 Pokedollars. Premium Ball is free for purchasing 10 ordinary Pokeball. The 10 Pokeballs plus 1 Premium Ball total cost 1,000 Pokedollars. Then Lure Ball, Moon Ball, Net Ball, Fast Ball, and Heavy Ball, each cost 1,000 Pokedollars per ball. Pricey. Then again, those special Pokeballs are crafted by someone named Kurt from Johto region. Basically, special order Pokeballs. Discounting the DLVRY fee, Ash had to pay 10,800 Pokedollars. He nearly cried because his savings took a mega punch. The things he did. There's still enough space left in the bag, but Ash resolved to let them be. He hasn't filled in his food rations and water. Speak of that. Ash, breakfast is ready. Ash blinked, turned to the alarm clock, and gaped. It was 7:45. Him packing took that much time. And he wasn't even done. Ash, don't tell me you're oversleeping again. Rapidly turning pale, Ash quickly zipped up the bag, slung it across his shoulder, and running downstairs. I'm awake. He yelled, jumping down 2 or maybe 3 stairs at a time and nearly sprained his ankle when he landed on the first floor. He had to bend his body and pushing the floor with one hand. He doesn't want to kiss Ms. Floor, thank you. Quickly get up on his feet, he ran to the kitchen/dining room where his mother, bless her soul, had been waiting. Morning MOM. He yelled, taking a bite of toast, and was about to run to Professor Oak's laboratory. That's the plan. Except he was not even 2 steps before his mother yanked him by the collar. Sit down and eat your breakfast properly, Ashton Oram Ketchum. Delia said sweetly. As sweet as Garrido's glare. Facing that, Ash has no other option but to nod and sit down, obeying her command. He was served with a plate of sunny-side egg and 2 slices of bacon, with milk to complete it. Do you get everything? Ash was about to answer, even with a mouthful, but one look had him reconsidering and nodding his head instead. Change clothes? Underwear? You must change your underwear often. Ash almost choked. Mom, that was years ago. And only that one time. He whines, red-faced in embarrassment. Make mistake once and your mom will never let you live it down. Sorry, but a mother's job is to worry. Delia laughed at her son's embarrassment. Even after all these years, she still had it. After all, you will be a Pokemon trainer and leave soon. A tinge of sadness entered her voice. Ash winces at that. It reached out to hold her hand. Mom. It was not like I'll be gone forever. Maybe a few years. Maybe. And I promise I'll call you as often as possible. You better be, Delia sniffed. You don't forget to bring your phone with you, alongside the solar charger and the cable, right? You can't use electric Pokemon to charge them. Not only you won't likely find any soon, and even if you do, they are more likely to overcharge and short-circuit your stuff. Ash paused at that and facepalmed. I knew I'm forgetting something. He whines. Sighing, Delia can only shake her head fondly. Even after all these years, Ash would always be Ash. He can be insightful at times, but also hopelessly clumsy. All right. Why don't you go to Professor Oak's lab and get your Pokemon while I double-check your bag? Really? Thanks, Mom. Ash grinned as he stood up and hugged her. I don't know what I would do if not for you. Probably waking up late and running to the lab half-dressed. Snarked Delia, doing a jab that she had to manhandle Ash to bed and have Mr. Mime forcibly put him to sleep via confusion. Based on the bush, Ash knew what she was talking about. Now, hurry up. And careful on the road. Geez, Mom, I will not leave the town until later. Despite himself, Ash smiled as he walks out to the lab. It doesn't take long as his house wasn't that far from Professor Oak's lab. It took him 20 minutes, at most, to walk there. He could do so in less if he runs, but he doesn't want to run into someone, especially. Well, look who's finally there. Especially. This one, Gary Oak. Ash's childhood friend turned rival. Gary, Ash replied flatly. Until today he still can't comprehend, when and how did his once awesome and sweet childhood friend become such a jackass. The Gary he used to be, while also a braggart, did not put others down and would quiz others so they could and would learn more about Pokemon, not so he can mock them. When did the fun learning time become a way for him to bully others? Unaware of Ash's thought, Gary stepped forward and smirked. For once you're not cutting it close. What do you know? Looks like miracle does happen. Oh, shut up, Gary. Resisting the urge to clamp his hands around his ears, Ash briskly walks past him. Inside, Professor Oak was waiting in the lab with 3 Pokeballs. One has a fire sticker, one has a water drop sticker, and one has a leaf sticker. Charmander, Squirtle, Bulbasaur. Morning, Professor. Ash greeted. Oh, morning, Ash. Samuel Oak greeted back. What brings you here today? Ash felt like someone doused him with cold water. Professor? He asks tentatively. You know. Starters. Isn't today I supposed to get my starter? He checks the calendar correctly, right? No. Based on Gay's word, today is definitely the day. Professor Oak blinked and hit his palm with his fist. Oh, that? Yes, but you should wait for others to come. Oh, Ash let out a relieved sigh. Well, that does explain why Gary was still there, waiting for something, his official Pokemon, rather than going on his journey. Okay then. He can wait for that. It took some time until the rest arrived. And now 4 of them were standing in line, waiting for the professor to start so they can receive their starters. Ahem. I thank you all for coming on time. Time is gold, so let's not waste it. Professor Oak coughed. First, congratulate for passing the trainer exam. And thank you for being patient while waiting. I hope your skill hasn't rusted yet. But then his proud expression turned somber. However, I had bad news. Due to certain circumstances, the league was unable to distribute the starters properly, so one of you won't be able to receive the Kanto starter. So, I ask, anyone here want to volunteer? As they 4 turned to each other with a shocked expression, Ash felt his heart sank. No starter? Again? But, of FING course. Last year's incident wasn't properly fixed yet. After some time without anyone said anything, he finally sighed and with a heavy heart, he stepped back. I will. Thank you, Ash. Professor Oak gives him a thankful look. Now you 3, there are the official Kanto starters. The Fire-type Charmander, the Water-type Squirtle, the Grass-type Bulbasaur. You will pick one of them to be your partner and... Ash tuned the professor out. Simply staring at the distance with an empty expression. Another year, huh? Sigh. He hopes Mom is not too crushed. Oh, who he was kidding. Mom definitely would be happy, he can spend another year here. Or until Professor could get him a starter. Either way, his journey will be delayed. Depends how long it take, he may or may not be able to enter the league this year. Think again. Would league be open this year? Have they cleaned up the mess last year when someone somehow managed to hack at Central Computer and stole a good number of starters before the league notices it? Well, maybe there's hope for him. Just that. Gary will be unbearable, Ash can tell. He really did. Ash? Ash? Are you still with me? Yeah. Ash nearly fell flat on his butt. Oh. Sorry, Professor. Huh? How long he zoned out, that the others already left. I shall leave. Ash. It's okay, Professor. Ash tried to smile. It's fine. It's outside your power, right? Maybe I'll be luckier next time. You know what they say, third time is a charm. He tried to put up his best unflappable smile, but his voice betrays him. I'll finish my books. And maybe hone my skill. So. It's not fair. Ash, it's okay. Professor Oak patted his back, like how he always does when he consoled Ash when he was little. You can still go on your journey this year. What? But how? Don't you already handed out all the starters? There are only 3 starters, Professor had made it clear, so how could he say Ash can go on his journey without a Pokemon? Well, to be honest, there's a 4th starter in the back. What? The problem is, this little fella is not a standard starter and let's say, the temperament is not the best if matched with rookie trainer. But since you look like you need it, I think I can give it to you. Oh, okay. Ash nodded, wiping off the tears that spill out. Sorry, Professor. I must be looking pathetic right now. Nah. It's okay, my boy. Anyone would reach the same if they are in your positions. I had to admit, it was really generous of you to volunteer yourself. Professor Oak said, leading Ash to the back of the lab, where Ash saw it. A small Pokeball on the table. A moment later and the thing was in his hand. Ash noticed something. This one had a Thunderbolt sticker on it. I found this rascal eating the cable at my lab, said Professor Oak. Nervous and excited, Ash released the Pokemon. It was revealed to be a Pokemon with goldenish yellow fur, long ears with black fur at the tips, chubby cheek with a red circle on each, 4 small legs, and a Thunderbolt-shaped tail. Wow! A Pikachu! Ash gasped, seeing the electric mouse Pokemon. That is so cool. He reached his hand out to touch Pikachu. His hand was about to connect with the yellow Pokemon's head when Ash suddenly has the urge to drop and roll out of the way. It comes a little too late when the next thing he knew was pain. Pikachu looked satisfied after delivering shock therapy to Ash. But then it looked to Professor Oak and had this mischievous smirk on its face, before shock him too. It took several minutes for both humans to stood up, Ash even longer than Professor Oak. Thankfully Pikachu somehow knew to keep the voltage non-lethal. It took several long minutes to get the Pikachu back into Pokeball. Mostly because the Pokemon tried to run away or zapped both of them, Professor Oak really had to call his old Kadabra to forcibly put Pikachu into sleep before tossing it back to Pokeball. Well, there you have it. A Pikachu. Professor Oak said grimly, trying to not shudder at the leftover electricity in his body. You've seen it. This one is promising to be troublesome. Powerful, but troublesome. Do you take it or would you wait for me to request a starter? Ash grimaced as he tried to pat his hair down. Ouch. It ain't fun. But, well, I think I can work out with Pikachu. Call him arrogant or something, but maybe Pikachu trusted him enough to let him close in before shocking him. Maybe he just had to earn his rep. Yeah. Earn his rep. Okay then. Despite his apprehension, Professor Oak complied with the request. Now, let's go back to the front lab. I have something to give to you. There, with one hand he picks up a box filled with 5 Pokeballs and with the other thing, a red rectangular something. This is a Pokédex. Professor Oak explained, seeing Ash's confused look. A Pokédex can act as an encyclopedia for you to scan any Pokemon you come across. The data later would be used for us researchers to know more about Pokemon, particularly rare ones, so don't be shy about using it. But before that, you need to fill in your ID. Let me show you how it's done. Putting his personal information to Pokédex, while sounds easy, was actually a difficult job, as Ash had to double and triple check the information. His trainer's ID, for example, he had to check the number was correct. Alright, here you go. A fully functioned Pokédex. Thank you, Professor. Ash bowed gratefully. I'll make sure to take care of Pikachu. I won't disappoint. And he runs out. Professor Oak smiled. I have no doubt you'll go far, Ash. He said, remembering a certain trainer bearing the same name. He wonders if Ash is that person. Maybe he is, maybe he is not. Only time would tell. Ash hit the road as soon as he said goodbye to his mom. He wants to put some decent distance before it gets too hot to travel. Morning is the best way to walk, especially on this bright sunny day. He can see some Pidgeys. So far no sight of the infamous Route 1 menaces known better as Spearow. After putting some distance, and preparing himself, Ash reaches out for the thunder-marked Pokeball and throws it. Come out, Pikachu. Ash already dodged out of the way the second his Pokemon manifested, putting away the Pokeball in fear of accidentally drop it. And he continues dodging and jumping to avoid the attack, even using some random trees as a decoy. Took a while before it was safe for him to whip out his Pokédex and scan the Pokémon. Pikachu, the electric mouse Pokémon. Gender, male. Nature, impish. Ability, lightning rod. Egg move, charge, locked. Pikachu, the electric mouse Pokémon. It stores electricity in its cheek for zapping the enemy if it is attacked. When it is angered, it immediately discharges the energy stored in the pouches in its cheek. This Pikachu no moves, Thundershock, Quick Attack, and Growl. Impish my butt. You could have been a Gyarados with that temper of yours, muttered Ash. Then to the Pokédex, he added, and if the gender is known, use the pronoun he or she. Noted. Okay, now Pikachu, Ash quickly dodged that one Thundershock. I was about to say what if we stop for a lunch? I'll even give you Oran Berry or 3. He bargained. Pikachu seems to stop attacking and consider it. After some time, he nodded and did not attack. Ash sighed in relief and went to find the nearest big tree to lean upon. Spring had just started, but that doesn't mean he wants to sit under the sun at this hour if given the choice. He rummaged through the bag before he finally found what he was searching for. One food container was made from plastic with sticker note Ash's lunch plastered on the lid, and the other was a multi-layered cylinder-shaped waterproof container. There are 5 layers and each holds one kind of berry. Oran, Lepa, Sherry, Rost, and Pecha. Ash had to find which one contains Oran Berry. Once given, Pikachu took the berries and climbed the tree. Ash sighed, suddenly feeling exhausted that his starter didn't trust him. Yet, well, at least it was the very same tree Ash leaned onto, so that was a step in his book. He was putting back the berries container to the bag when he hears a suspicious noise. That was, "Hey, that's mine!" he exclaimed, startling the Rattata who was trying to steal Ash's lunch. Thank goodness Ash hasn't opened the lid yet. The purple and cream mouse Pokémon squeaked angrily at Ash, before leap forward in tackle. Ash can't believe it, but he was mentally thanking Pikachu for his attempt at electrocuting him earlier, that now Ash was able to evade the tackle and grab a pebble. Hey, Pikachu! The yellow rodent ignores him, busy munching the berry. Yeah. Go figure. Rolling his eyes, Ash threw the stone. Missed the Rattata, but close enough to scare them into scurrying away. Actually Ash, for a moment earlier, had considered throwing a Pokeball instead of a pebble, but he discarded the idea. He is not going to throw Pokeball at anything that moves. He had spent numerous time thinking and considering which Pokemon he wants for his team, and Rattata doesn't even make the top of the list. Not to mention there's no guarantee Rattata would listen to him if Pikachu didn't. Can't exactly catch a Pokemon if his first partner and he were not on good terms. He hopes he and Pikachu would get along before they reach Pewter City. Spear. Spearow. Pika. Hearing the ruckus from above, Ash almost chokes on his drink when he looked up and find Pikachu dodging a Spearow. The bird Pokemon seems to try to steal Pikachu's lunch. The rapid attack caused Pikachu to lose balance and hanging onto the branch. Hey! Leave my Pokemon alone! Ash yelled, annoyed that the lunch was, once again, delayed. He threw another pebble, which DMN near grazed Pikachu and causing him to fall sorry Pikachu. And hit the Spearow. Thwack! Spear, tick mark appears in Spearow's temple. The bird Pokemon let out a loud caw. Spearow. The cry was loud enough that Ash had to cover his ears. Oh. That must be Screech. Wait a minute. Screech. Spearow. Looking up in apprehension, dread pooling on Ash's stomach when his fear was confirmed. A flock of angry Spearow. The infamous Route 1 danger problem. Worse of all? It was led by a Fiero. Okay, time to run for your life. Snatching both his bag and the Pikachu, Ash ran as fast as possible. The uneven road made it difficult for it. Ash bite back a yelp when he stepped on a pebble, but he did not stop running. His and Pikachu's life was at stake, damn it. Eyes darting around, he made his choice and started to run towards the trees. It was more difficult, with the low branches scrapes and whipped him. He pulled Pikachu closer and making sure he was covering the electric type as much as possible. On the upside, those very same branches proved to be obstacles. For the Spearows as well, so yay. STTTRK. WO. Ash yelped as he skidded to a halt. At the other end of the forest was a waterfall. He was standing on edge of the cliff. Spear. Spearow. Row. Spearow. Ash yelped when the flocks finally caught up to them. He quickly crouched down, pulling Pikachu close and shielded him using his body. Wincing and letting out a pained cry when feeling the sharp beak and talons scratching his body. Either because he's sensing his trainer's distress, or it was that primal instinct all Pokemon had, Pikachu growled angrily at the Spearow. Pika. His cheek sparked. Choo! A really big thunder strikes the flocks, who let out a pained cry. Even the leader Fiero did not expect such a powerful attack and ended up enduring the attack point blank, resulting in the flocks falling out from the sky, twitching on the ground with singed feathers. It would be a good thing except KRRRKKK. Ash and Pikachu looked at the cracks on the cliff with horror on their face. Uh-oh. The cliff collapsed. Ash and Pikachu fell to the river below and swept by the current. Ash didn't see what it was, but all he knew was pain as his head hit something. Something hard and solid. His vision blurred, and despite his best attempt to swim to the side, the current was way too strong. Ugh. His lungs burned. He needed oxygen. Damn it. The last thing he knew, before darkness overtook him, was that someone kindly fished him out of the river. Thank you. Whoever you are. TBC chapter text. Uk. Had you. I know. Ajaya. NGS. Need. ADEA. Ash woke up sometimes later. The first thing he saw was the ceiling of a tent. Huh. Okay. That's a new one. Why is he in a tent and where on earth is he? Ouch. He winces as when he tried to sit up, pain racked his body. Ow 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 ow. He can feel bruises under his clothes. Hey. Careful. A strong pair of hands helped him sit up. Ash blinked. Those arms belonged to a man, with reddish light magenta hair, and amber eyes. Huh. He looks a bit familiar. Behind him was another man with light blue hair, almost steely. Here. Take it easy, okay? You almost drowned. Drowned? Why would Ash drown? Then it hit him. The starter. Pikachu. Spearow. A massive thundershock. Pikachu. Collapsing cliff. Pain. Can't breathe. Pikachu. Pikachu. He shouted, ignoring the pain that once again rattled his body. Where is he? My Pikachu? Is he alright? Whoa there. Calm down, okay? You gonna aggravate your injury if you don't. The man holds him by shoulders. Your Pokemon is fine. Here is him. He handed Ash the Pokeball with a thunder sticker. Ash felt immense relief flooded his entire being when he opens the Pokeball. And Pikachu tackles him. Safe and healthy. I'm no medic, but I know some basic healing, and to be honest, you're far worse than your Pokemon. Your ribs and back had taken quite a beating, and you were bleeding by the head when we found you. You're in no shape for long-distance travel. The Blueonette replied. We need to bring you to Viridian Poke Center as soon as the rain subsides. That explains the pitter-patter and why they are cramped inside a tent. Care to tell us what happened? The infamous Spearow menace strikes again. Answered Ash bitterly. Pikachu and I were just having lunch in Route 1, having just departed from Pallet Town earlier, but then this Spearow attacked Pikachu, and when I tried to shoo it away, but all it does was making it angrier and calling for its flock. Which led by a Fiero. Ash shivered when he remembered that giant terror. We run and ended up near cliff. Pikachu let out powerful thundershock that hopefully fried them for good. But then the cliff ended up collapsing. And the rest were history. The man shook his head in disbelief. Sheesh. And here I thought my experience with impromptu ice skating and slamming into stalagmites in Ice Path is bad. You have it worse, kid. First a Spearow, then flock of it plus Fiero, then a Gyarados whacking you around. Ash and Pikachu stiffened with a pale face. Oops. Ash was this close to hyperventilating. A Gyarados? In Route 1? He shrieked. The Blueonette gave his companion a deadpan stare and hit him upside the head. Thank you very much for that, Lance. The redhead, Lance, winces. Well, if it was any consolation, she whacked you with her tail and not the other end of her body. That was not helping. Not much, at the least. And I captured her, so you don't have to worry about her anymore. You. Ash was befuddled. You captured the Gyarados? How? How powerful is he and his Pokemon? Gyarados' temper was legendary for reasons. Well, that was what I'm here for. The man shrugged his shoulders. I happened to be in Viridian City for some business when I heard a kid reporting about Gyarados sightings en route. I see if I can negotiate with her and persuade her to not attack anyone who's in her sight, but since she seems to have a bit of temper, I decided she was a danger to Route 1 and capture her, so she can be relocated somewhere safe. And I'm here because he somehow roped me to accompanying him, the Blueonette sighed, despite the fact I'm busy. You don't even want to deal with the paperwork, Steven. Admit it, you like being out once in a while. Not if I had to play babysitter to you and your dragon mania, no. Pot, meat kettle. You're as bad when it comes to steel type and stones. Fitting, considering your surname. Steven didn't have a comeback for that. Ash can only laugh at the banter, which quickly turned into a coughing fit, which freaked Pikachu out. Pika. Steven and Lance look at him in concern. Definitely our first stop is Viridian's Poke Center. Steven scratched his cheek. I would have had Metagross teleport us, but I never teleported with an injured person before, so I don't know if it would be safe or not. I rather not take the risk. Ash grimaced. Sorry for being a bother. No, it's okay. Ah, here. Steven handed him a bowl of mashed berry soup. This won't do much, but it could ease the pain. Nodding thankfully, Ash drinks the soup. Maybe it was because it is a berry soup, maybe it was because he drinks something warm while rain raging outside, but it did make him feel better. That doesn't make his health deemed good enough to help packing the tent, to his annoyance. He was told to rest on a rock or something, while adults and their Pokemon take care of the impromptu campsite. He understands that Lance and Steven mean well, but he is 13. A year older than most rookie trainers. He can take care of himself. It was not as if rolling the tent is hard and strenuous. Mumble grumble. Pika. Ash looked at Pikachu, who rubbing himself against Ash's legs. Ha! This is the first time he was this close to Pikachu without being electrocuted. Chased by Spearow earlier doesn't count. And this is the first time Pikachu approaches him on his own volition. Hey, Ash kneeled down. You're not hurt anywhere, do you? Pikapi. Pika Pikachu. Somehow, despite not understanding Pokemon's language, Ash could understand what Pikachu tried to convey. Me? You're worried about me. Nod. Thanks, buddy, but I'll be fine. Pikachu nuzzles his cheek. Ash felt the stinging pain of electricity when their cheeks rubbed together, but surprisingly it was way too tame. Hey, does this mean we can start over? Pikachu. Grinning, Ash rubbed Pikachu's head. That was when he heard it. A loud bird cawing. Looking up, Ash gaped at the sight of a glowing giant bird flying towards the rainbow at sunset. Quickly he snatched out his Pokédex and tried to scan it. No data. Some Pokemon are still undiscovered. Well, I'll be dmed. Hey, Mr. Lance. Mr. Steven. Does any of you know that bird? Called out like that, the others can't help but look up, only to gape with shock. Arceus bless me. Breathed Steven. Ho-Oh. The legendary Pokemon Ho-Oh. He wastes no time capturing pictures of the Pokemon. His skull-wearing quadrupedal Pokemon let out a happy roar at that, as does Lance's Dragonite. Tell me about it. Like Steven, Lance also took out his phone and snaps as many pictures of Ho-Oh as he could. Millions of people could live their entire lifetime without seeing a legendary. We are so goddamn lucky. I bet Lorelei, Bruno, and Agatha are stewing in jealousy right now. Looking at his group chat, yep, he was bombarded with questions. Yep, they are jealous. He cackles. Steven just sighed good-naturedly, though his lips tugged up in a smile. The travel to Viridian was uneventful. Save for the fact Ash was not allowed to walk by himself, and instead was carried piggyback by Dragonite all the way there. Ash being Ash, pouting and sulking all the way, and much to his chagrin, the older men were just chuckling. They were stopped by a green-haired lady whom Lance addressed by Officer Jenny. What happened? This kid had bad luck meeting Route 1 Spearow Menace and Gyarados in the row. He needs medical help ASAP. Very well. May I please see his ID at the least? Okay. Ash was really grateful to whoever the good soul who proposed the idea that all Pokédex must be waterproof, in case the trainer had water type. He wonders if Pokédex also fireproof to some degree can take a high voltage and other kinds of abuse. Surely a Pokédex must be more durable compares to normal phones and the likes? Once they were done with the checks, Ash was quickly deposited to the Viridian City's Poke Center for a checkup. Nurse Joy and the doctor in charge do a quick examination. Aside from cracked ribs and bone legs, as well as a small bump in his head, Ash was fine. A quick healing palm from Chansey speed up the recovery. As it stood, he was made to rest for at least 2 days and undergo one last checkup before he was allowed to continue his journey, and given dinner of Chansey egg. Ash would have been sulking for being treated like a kid, but he understands. And he has something to do. Open up a pocket in his bag, waterproof bag to the win. Trainer's backpack rock. He fished out his totally dry and functional phone, turned it on, and call out a familiar number. Professor Oak's laboratory. Samuel Oak speaking. Hi, Professor. Ah, Ash my boy. How are you, Ash? Have you arrived in Viridian City yet? Catch any new Pokemon? You bet I did. Ash laughed, but then his expression turned sheepish. And no, not yet. Haven't got the opportunity. Why so? 4 words. Spearows. Fiero. And Gyarados. Professor Oak chokes. Wait, did you say you had the bad luck encountering the Spearow Menace? Did you say a Gyarados? In Route 1. Are you okay? Ash winces as he pushed the phone away from his ear. Ouch. His poor eardrums. I'm fine, Professor, a bit bruised, but I'll be right as rain soon. And you don't have to worry about the Garridos. Lance had already taken care of it. Or so he said. Professor Oak chokes again. Huh? What's this time about? Lance? Red hair, wearing a cape, with dragon-type Pokemon? That Lance? Yep. Ash nodded, albeit confused. What's wrong, Professor? Do you know him? No, sheesh, Ash. Did you hit your head or something? Well, maybe I did. I fell into the river because of the DMN birds. I got bump in my head, too. That explains it all. Professor Oak shook his head. At least with him there, then I can rest assured the Garridos most definitely had been taken care of. Lance was effective when it was his area of expertise or properly motivated. Does your mother had knows about it? Ash winces. No. I haven't called Mom yet. Professor, can you please not tell her about it? If Mom knows, she will drag me home in a heartbeat. And Viridian is not far enough distance. And maybe when I am on another side of Kanto? He would prefer if his mom would never know about this incident. Ever. Sigh, very well then. Do me a favor and stay safe. The call was disconnected. Ash waited for a minute or two, before dialing up another number. His home's number. Hello, Ketchum residence here. Mom. Ash, my baby. How are you? Where are you now? I'm fine, Mom, and I'm on Viridian City Poke Center. Oh, that's fast. Normally Viridian is 1 day away walking, and you can be hopelessly lost without a map and a guide. How can you arrive there so fast? Well, Ash briefly recalled his journey. The bits he can remember. This and that happens. And I got lucky meeting 2 awesome guys who helped me reach Viridian. Oh, don't forget to say thank you to them. His mom replied. Well then, keep safe and healthy, dear. Call me when you arrived in Pewter, okay? And with that, the call ended. Ash stared at his phone before turned to Pikachu, who was lazing in the spare pillow. You know, Pikachu, he said. I've always wondered. If a trainer wants to challenge the 8 main gyms in sequences, why is Viridian City always being the last? Steven asks Lance when they return to the hotel. Lance had to swing by Viridian Gym to collect some paperwork while he was here. Apparently, those are due submitted this week, yet Giovanni was out for a business trip, forcing Lance to collect these by himself. Why not the nearest gym to one's hometown, with Cinnabar Gym being the last? I mean, isn't Cinnabar Island is separated from mainland? Well, Lance shrugged. First, do Cinnabar Island become tourist destination, Blaine was forced to close the official gym and relocated it, and to his annoyance no one seems to care enough to find out where it was, making Mass thinking the gym was closed for good while in reality it was not. Second, to quote Giovanni, it was because we put him in the gym that was 1 route away from Indigo Plateau. He feels like he had to remind that because even if the trainers had beat other gyms, it doesn't mean that they are invincible. Personally, I think he doesn't have the patience to deal with the rose-colored view new trainers generally have. And even then, if a trainer had earned 7 badges and challenge him, he would crush them. His reputation as cold and perfectionist had spread throughout Kanto, it had become common knowledge. So the trainers avoided this gym like plague? Nope. That would be Saffron City Gym, Sabrina's gym. Why? Because whatever the Dragon Master was about to say was cut short when alarms blare to life. Attention all Viridian City citizen. A terrorist group had break into Poke Center. Repeat, a terrorist group had break into Poke Center. Currently, all police officers are heading to Poke Center to apprehend the criminal. Please keep calm and stay indoor for your safety. The 2 champions look at each other with horror and dread. A thought popped into their mind. The boy they had just saved a few hours prior, he was still at Poke Center alongside other injured trainers and Pokemon, right? Without any word said, both are equipped themselves with Pokeballs and a tranquilizer gun before making head to the Poke Center. Cursing the fact their room was on the top floor, which means they had to deal with stairs or elevators. Deciding those took too much time, they do something utterly stupid. They jump out of the window. Metagross. Throwing his Pokeball, Steven summoned his ace Pokemon. Once Lance and he held onto the steel type, he commanded, teleport. Poke Center. Before they could crash to the ground, the 3 of them glowed and in a blink of eyes, they vanished from the spot only to reappear right in front of the Poke Center. Not what Steven had in mind, but this would do. It had to. Officer. Status report. Lance roared. Sir. This is a break-in by Team Rocket, sir. Officer Jenny salutes. The Team Rocket had infiltrated the Poke Center T-20 minutes and messed up with dial tone, resulting in the alarm set off late. No further report from Nurse Joy of Viridian City. There's a possibility she alongside some trainers who stayed inside were held hostage. Outwardly appearing calm, inside his head Lance was cursing up a law sailor. All right, here's the plan. 3 teams. Team Alpha, Team Beta, and Team Delta. Each team consists of 4 personnel and their Pokemon. Team Alpha will enter from the back door. Team Beta from left wing. Team Delta from the right wing. Steven and I will enter from the front door. Sir, won't it be dangerous? A rookie police asked. He was promptly met with a glare. Do you doubt my capability, officer? The officer shook his head, terrified. Anyone has more questions? No? Good. Now get to work. Time is essential. The longer we stalling time here, the worse situation will be. They quickly get to work. Lance and Steven entered from the front door. Steven had recalled Metagross but keep the Pokeball at hand. Lance was holding Dragonite's Pokeball. Right now their priority is not assault, but to apprehend the criminals and free the hostages. They do not need firepower, but if push comes to shove, they will not hesitate. The first thing they saw was a messed up lobby. No one was here. An explosion occurred from another room, deeper into Poke Center. Cautiously, they approached the room. It was oddly silent. Pressing their ears to the door, they heard a voice speaking. Female. Is that Nurse Joy? Turning the doorknob, they opened the door, and was greeted with a view of Nurse Joy fussing over the trainer with Pikachu. Ash, was it? Ha, Lance speaks up. Can anyone tell us what had happened here? Pissed. Ash and Pikachu were startled when the light suddenly gave up. The young teenager quickly activates the flash feature from his phone. It doesn't do much, but it helps a bit. I have bad feelings about this, Pikachu. Muttered Ash, noticing that, from the view outside the window, it was only the Poke Center that suffered from the outage. Something is fishy here. Pikapi. Pikachu nodded with his fur standing on their end. He jumped to Ash's shoulder and the boy walks out of the room. Careful with his steps. The corridor was empty, no one else was here, which was understandable. Viridian City is the last destination on Kanto Gym route. Ash made his way to the lobby, intent on asking Nurse Joy what had happened. Only to be accosted with the smoke of all things when he reached the recreational area. Cough cough, what the heck with this smoke? Ash coughed, batting his free hand to fan the smoke a bit. Do you want to know? A woman voice asked. She. Doesn't sound like Nurse Joy. The smoke cleared, revealing 2 people standing in the messed up room. Both wearing a white uniform with a big red R on the top with black gloves and boots. A Meowth standing in between them. Prepare for trouble, the pink magenta-haired woman said. And made it double, the lilac-haired man continues. To protect the world from devastation. To unite all people within our nation. To denounce the evils of truth and love. To extend our reach to the stars above. Jesse. James. Team Rocket blasting off at the speed of light. Surrender now or prepare to fight. Meowth, that's right. Ash blinked. Once. Twice. Huh. Did his concussion was worse than it actually is? Because he swears that Meowth was actually talking, like, in human language, using human words, rather than just saying his name. Now hand over all Pokemon you have, and we'll be on our way. Demanded Jesse. Chop chop, hurry up or you won't like the consequences. Threatened James. Ash deadpanned. Wow. Are you serious? Who gonna hand over their Pokemon just like that? That threat was ineffective, and even if it was, Ash rather breaks his bones than hand over Pikachu. Oh, so the twerp wants to do it the hard way. So have it your way. Go, coughing. Ekans. Prepared to battle. Ash looked at the 2 Pokemon, before turned to Pikachu. This gonna be an unfair battle. You're up, buddy? Pikachu's answer was to jump from Ash's shoulder, landed on all 4, and growling at the poison-type Pokemons, his electric pouch sparkled with static. Ha! Do you think you can take us with that punny mouse? James laughed. You gonna pay for that. Jessie pet her head. Ekans. Bite that mouse. Pikachu, dodge using quick attack, followed up by tackle. Ash shouted. Pika. Pikachu skidded to the side, narrowly avoiding the maw, before calling forth his electricity and strike at Ekans, who let out a cry of pain. It was not enough, however, as the snake Pokemon slither up again, despite looking battered. It lunged again with higher speed. Pikachu let out a startled yelp and began dashing, dodging the bite. Starting a weird and probably dangerous tag game. Unaware of another poison type that crept out from behind him until. Coughing. Bleck. Oh no, you don't. Chansey. Pound. Suddenly the Chansey appears and pounding coughing. Wah! Jessie's eyes popped. You can fight? That eggy thing can fight? I thought you only good for nothing but wimpy healer. Nurse Joy glared. Don't assume just because we choose the path of healer we don't know how to fight. She replied hotly. Chansey. Disarming voice. The coughing was knocked back, hitting the Eakins, and saved Pikachu. Guh. Coughing. Smog. Poison them down. Eakins. Use smog as cover. Attack them. Sheet. Ash thought as the bomb-like Pokemon began emitting purplish smoke. Eakins is poison type so it has more resistance, but not Pikachu, and I don't know much about Chansey. Pikachu. Hold your breath as long as you could. And keep quick attack. Jump to the higher area. Don't breath where the smog cover. Pikachu inhales as much air he could before hold his breath, and start zigzagging up the furniture in an attempt to find a vantage point. He jumped onto a decorative tree in the corner. Right. Ash grinned and pulled Nurse Joy and Chansey out from the smog range. Thundershock. Spread it all across the smog. Pika Chu. Without Ash, Nurse Joy, or Chansey within the smog range, Pikachu let loose with Thundershock, striking as many areas as possible. By chance turned it into Thunder Wave. That turned the table. With smog covered their vision, Team Rocket was having a hard time dodging the wild thunder wave. They are herded to collides with each other. And would you know, an electric spark could cause a fire? One of the scattered papers around the Team Rocket gets struck and now caught on fire. It happens to be right under coughing, and when fire meets flammable gas, there was only one result. KBO-MMMMMMX. Due to the attack on Viridian Poke Center, the place was shut down. Any injured Pokemon would be directed to Makeshift Poke Center, a wing in the police office. Lance initially wanted to use the empty Viridian gym but shot down the idea. It was not as if Giovanni was at fault. The Team Rocket attack happened when he was away. That, and if he goes through that, Giovanni will be even more pain in the butt to deal with. Seriously, he and Sabrina give Lance the worst migraine every time the yearly Kanto Gym Leaders meeting takes place. As for the trainer who opt to use free room service in the Poke Center, they have the option to camp out or rent a room. However, since Ash is the only one trainer currently using the service, Lance pulls some strings and guilt-tripping him into staying with him and Steven. Needless to say, Ash feels out of place. The room. It definitely was VIP room. It took them quite a debate before Ash finally accepted the help. Even if he insists on taking the couch and not the bed. Truth to be told, Lance doing it for everyone's sakes. The break-ins to Viridian Poke Center would be big news. As Giovanni put it, it was one route away from Indigo Plateau, and the gym leader was a notorious perfectionist. If the public knew that the attack happens when the gym leader was away but with the champion was in the city, let's say the public backlash won't be nice. Especially if the tidbits that the one who saves it was a rookie trainer with help of local Nurse Joy. For the Indigo League's PR, and for Ash's safety, the news had to be edited. The thing with Nurse Joy stayed, though, because of course Nurse Joy and Chansey know self-defense. How else they break up a battle between trainers with an ill relationship, or forcibly wrangled to the bed Pokemon with a terrible temper and too much stubbornness for their own good? But others? Editing here and there. Good thing Ash was the only trainer who stayed in Viridian Poke Center and willing to cooperate after Lance breaks it in a way he would understand. Coffee? Lance DMN near jumped from the chair. He settles with glaring at Steven for pressing the coffee mug to his cheek. Don't startle me. The Hoenn champion just grinned harmlessly. Though. Thanks. Ugh. I had to finish this tonight or the press gonna be a nightmare. I hate bureaucrats. Ain't we all? Steven takes a sip from his own cup. But necessary evil is necessary evil. This boy does seem to have extraordinary luck. Fiero, Gyarados, and terrorist attack, and it had been his first day. Either he is lucky or very unlucky. I don't even get this much of problem until I have done with my third gym. And I'm heir to major corporation. Same here. Lance looked at Ash, who peacefully sleeping on the bed? Huh. Steven must be moved him then. And it has to be Lance's bed. He's definitely going to use the couch. Assuming he didn't fall asleep on the desk. You know, if his first day was hectic like this, I kinda worried about tomorrow and the day after. It was worrisome. Do you want to assign an agent to keep an eye on him? You might need to pick up the best agent for a babysitting job, then. An agent, huh? Lance's eyes trained on Steven, and a wicked idea formed in his mind. Don't worry. He grinned. I already have perfect someone in mind. Let it never be said Lance can't be petty. No. Yes. No Lance, I'm not doing it. I don't care if you somehow become fond of the boy, I have my own life and duty. I'm not doing it. Lance has the most ridiculous mind and this is definitely his way of being petty, Steven sure of it. All these years he knows the redhead, Lance won't pass up the chance to annoy people if he can get away with it. You do realize this is borderline favoritism, right? It's not favoritism if it was just looking out, not helping him in everything. You need a vacation from your duty as Hoenn champion and as Devon company. Heir. And I don't ask you to follow him all through the Kanto. Lance waved his hand. Do you know SS and is scheduled to docks at the harbor in Vermilion City a month from now? It will stay in Vermilion for 3 days, then 1 day 2 nights trip to Bluebell City, east of Fuchsia, then 2 days and 2 nights to Cinnabar Island before it sails to Hoenn. So I just ask you to accompany him till Vermilion. Stephen propped his head on his hands. Convincing, but that's my ticket home. Tell me why I should do this. Do you know MT Moon is one of the top excavation sites in Kanto? What? Lance smirked. You know, MT Moon, the big but mountain right smack dab in the middle of Route 3 between Pewter and Cerulean. It was one of the top excavation sites in Kanto. You can find Pokemon fossil among other interesting stuff there. Oh, have I mentioned that a meteor crashed there a while back and its shard becomes Moonstone? That. Stephen looks unsure. Sounds interesting. He shifted, clearly interested in visiting the MT Moon. Oh, have I mentioned Pewter City is famous for its rock and mineral? I mean they have a university about geology there. And a museum about fossils, rocks, and space. While the latter was not your cup of tea, the first two might be. They do. Guaranteed. Stephen gulped. Clearly trying to rein in his excitement. Okay. I'll do it. Lance internally do victory dance. But you will pay for my tab. Sure, send the tab to me. What, like it's hard? Lance has quite a wealth in his bank account. The upside of being champion and member of Kanto Jado Elite 4 was he has a fat paycheck. He can pay for the premium ticket for SS and for the entire journey to Hoenn and still has a lot of money left. He was unaware of a mischievous smirk that graced Stephen's lips. The Steel Master did not only plan to make Lance pay for his cruise ticket but also the restaurant tab and some other stuff. He is not the type who spends his money frugally, but hey, the keyword was his money. If someone paid for him and said someone annoys him, well, might as well milk it for all it's worth. Good thing he memorized Lance's Pokédex number by heart. First thing first, alright. I'm going to make some calls. To his father, to Wallace so he won't be searching him high and low. And to take care of Hoenn Elite 4 in his stead. Last is to his secretary. Maybe he will give her a pay raise. The call goes the way he expected. Not. His secretary sounds like she had been expecting it for quite a while and preparing to make some accommodations and press release that Stephen won't be available for some time. Wallace and his father were also fully supporting his decision. They were telling him to enjoy his vacation. Though his father gives him some homework, namely, observe the Slivco and coming up with something that can one-up their rival company if possible. Stephen wondered what had guaranteed that response. He is not that workaholic, right? You're coming with me? Ash blinked, gaping at Stephen. Yep. Stephen nodded. I have some business to do in Kanto, a mission from my company. You see, I was instructed to come up with a technology idea, but I hit a snag, so I think journeying through a foreign region will be giving me ideas. And since they're saying, 2 is better than 1, I hope you didn't mind if I tag along. All perfectly true save for hit a snag with inspiration. It also a good cover of why he chooses to travels with a 13-years-old boy he just know yesterday. No, it's all right. Ash beamed. In fact, I'm happy. He didn't mind travel companion. Quite the contrary, he's ecstatic. It makes his journey less lonely. His mother did say having travel companions makes it all even sweeter. It was much less boring walking down Route 2 with someone to accompany him. It made Ash excited, even more. Pikachu had to dig his paw on Ash's shoulder just to not fell off. Stephen notices it, of course. You don't put Pikachu back in Pokeball? No. I don't. He gives me this evil eye when looking at me holding his Pokeball. Looking at Pikachu, Ash answered, I think Pikachu has claustrophobia. Or just hate being inside Pokeball. Dunno. I don't understand Pokespeak. Those kinds, I see. Steve nodded. Your Pikachu is not the only one who prefers being outside Pokeball all the time. He has his fair share of seeing Pokemon staying out of Pokeball despite being caught Pokemon. Regarding understanding what you Pokemon are saying, give it time. Sooner or later you can understand what he's been saying. Even if it was just making an accurate general guess using his gesture and voice tone. Like how old humans from different regions communicate before universal language invented. Like that story of a man who can only speak Old Kanto has his shipwrecked in the middle of the storm and washed seashore in Orange Island? Well, maybe? I'm Henian, not Cantonian. I'm not familiar with Kanto legends and fairy tales. Replied Stephen. But if it was anything like the story about how a sailor from Pokatlantis first stepped foot and meet ancient Henian, then, yes. Something like that. Ash nodded slowly. Not entirely understand what Stephen was saying, but nodded nonetheless just for the sake of being polite. Pokatlantis? What's that? Sounds interesting, but if it involves science mumbo-jumbo words, count him out. He can only understand dumbed-down explanations. Deciding to ignore that, Ash asks one of his many questions. Does that mean your Pokemon are from Hoenn too? I remember you had this one with a skull for head. You know. The one with blue eyes. I once tried to scan it, but my Pokédex didn't come up with anything. That's Aaron. Dual type of steel and rock. And yes, it's native to Hoenn, hence why your Pokédex didn't work. It only works for Cantonian Pokemon. Steven smiled and held out his own Pokédex. It has a different design than Ash, aside from colored in cool steel blue, same shades as Steven's hair and eyes. Here, I show you. Aaron, the Iron Armor Pokemon. Aaron has a body of steel and impressive defense power. This Pokemon eats iron, or that it digs from mountains to build up the metal in its body. Occasionally it causes major trouble by eating bridges and rails. Wow! That impressive. Ash was impressed. But why the Pokédex entry is different? Mine show ability, nature, and moves. Was it because yours manufactured in Hoenn? Steven actually laughed at that. Steven. Sorry. Haha. I just remember I asked a similar question when I was a child. In fact, I asked if Pokédex that didn't show those were faulty. He wiped stray tears from his eyes. To answer your question, it's because I show you a generic Pokédex entry. The kind that shows up if you scan a wild Pokemon. Details about gender, ability, nature, and move set only appear on Pokemon you owned. If those appear on generic, won't it be a cheat? Your enemy could scan your Pokemon and know the move set and vice versa. That makes battle become a moot point and, how to put it? Boring? Cheating? Unfair? Hacks? Something along those lines. Oh. That made sense for Ash. He would hate it if his enemy outmaneuvered him just because they scan his Pokemon and know their moves. But of course, that was not always true. Smiled Steven. So what if your moves were known to your opponent? You just have to improvise. Same with type. Type advantage and disadvantage is not the end of all battle. Really? Ash asks dubiously. Why don't we find out? Find out? You mean like Pokemon battle? Yep. Steven nodded. One of my Pokemon is new and hasn't had her first match yet. First official match. The mock battle for her training didn't count. How was it? Ash looked at Pikachu, who nodded. All right. I accept the challenge. Good. Let's find a nice clearing, all right? I don't want to be responsible for a forest fire. Ash eyeing Pikachu, then remember the explosion back at Poke Center. Then at his mother's story how she had to deal with a forest fire because some electric type hit a pile of dry leaves. Good idea. It doesn't take long for them to found a clearing. There's one just a few dozen meters after the Viridian Forest entrance. Alright, Pikachu. Let's do this. Pikachu jumped off of Ash's shoulder and called his name. Grinning with cheeks sparkled with electricity. Steven threw a Pokeball. Beldum. He called out. The Pokemon that materialized was certainly nothing like Ash knew. The body was made entirely of steel with a single gem that act as its eye? She looks like a joint or something, and floating mid-air. Pikachu. Thundershock. Beldum, dodge it. Pikachu let out sparks that aimed at Beldum, but the steel type floated away from striking range. Headbutt. Pikachu. Quick attack to the side. Dodge it. Steel conducts electricity, but if Pikachu slammed with that lump of steel, it gonna be bad. Pikachu is rather frail. It was Raichu who's tough. Pikapi. Don't let Pikachu run away. After him. Following the commands, both Pokemon play game tag where Pikachu would try to run away or get Beldum off of his tail, with Beldum insist pursue Pikachu. Even up into a tree, down the tree, and running in circles. It would have been comical to passerby. Beldum is headstrong. Fitting for a steel type. No pun intended. Ash bites his nail. Trying to find a way to get out of this predicament. If they continue like this, it will be only narrowed down to the battle of stamina. How should he? Pikachu, try zapping Beldum. It didn't work. Pikachu had to keep his eyes on the road so he won't hit a tree or something. He didn't have a perfect 360-degree view or eyes on his back, so he can't zap Beldum. The steel type just easily avoided the attack. Beldum. Close the gap. Lift Pikachu with your pincers and use takedown. The steel type does just like that. Flip 180 degrees and grabbing Pikachu with her pincers. She then proceeds to float high from the ground, before descending at high speed. Sheet. Pikachu. Ash called out. Coat yourself with electricity. Shock Beldum using point-blank range advantage. Pika Chuuu. A strong thundershock emanating from Pikachu. Strike Beldum, who cries in pain due to her metal body, conducts the attack perfectly, becoming a lightning rod. It doesn't end like that. Pikachu overcharges his attack and stray lightning were blasting off at random directions. Both Ash and Steven had to dodge the stray lightning. Kaboom! Bam! Beldum and Pikachu smashed to the ground, looking worse for wear. However, while Pikachu fainted with comical spiral eyes and a bump on his head, Beldum has some energy left to float back to Steven before collapses at her trainer's embrace. Showing who the winner of this match. Ash sighed dejectedly. His first match, Team Rocket stuff didn't count, and he lost. Good work, Pikachu. You did your best. He muttered, cradling Pikachu in his arms before went to take some potion from his back. Pouring it on a small towel and wash Pikachu with it. Turning to Steven, he said, "Thank you for the match." "Likewise," replied Steven. That was interesting quick thinking, ordering Pikachu to attack in last seconds. Had your Pikachu can control his output and aim better, it definitely would be a double knockout. Most trainers, especially rookie trainers, usually froze and seemingly blanked out when they are blink away from defeat. Well, that was good news. Alright, next time I gonna train Pikachu in aiming. And never underestimate your opponent, even if you're in type advantage. Lesson learned. Ash sighed. Guess becoming Pokemon Master is still a long shot. Steven tilted his head. Master of what? There's two types of Master. Specialist and Generalist. The older male explained. Specialist is a master who focused on a certain type of Pokemon with a certain characteristic. They had a deep knowledge of their chosen type and can come up with various ways to turn the table into their favor in case they're up against a challenger with a type advantage. An example of specialist type is me, who is Steel type specialist. Another would be gym leaders, since most, if not all gyms are mainly focusing on a certain type. Also, Elite Four. Like Rock type Pewter Gym and Water type Cerulean Gym. Correct. On another end of the spectrum, there's Generalist. Like the name indicated, Generalist is master who did not have preferential type, instead, they have a wide variety of Pokemon in their repertoire. Jack of all trades, you might call them as. This requires them to have at least moderate knowledge of all Pokemon types. Hence Generalist Master are fewer than Specialist. The ones I know are members of Frontier Brains. Wow. Ash stared in amazement. I don't know there's more about Pokemon Master. And what the heck is Frontier Brain? That's your homework. Steven winked. You won't learn anything or develop some much-needed skill if I give you all the answers. So when we reach Pewter, go use the internet connection and search them up. And speaking of homework, you might want to decide which course you're going to take. Generalist or Specialist? If Specialist, which type? Your decision. Affected the Pokemon you capture. Ash mulled over it. But, say, if I choose a Specialist, and happens to have Pokemon that does not have the type or characteristic, what should I do? After all, some types are rare in Kanto. Like Dragon type. The only Dragon type that was native to Kanto is Dragoneline and Kingdra, which only appear if you evolved Seadra with Dragon Scale. Or like Dark type. Kanto does not have Dark type. It was impossible to find any Dark type in Wild. Unless some migrated from Johto and Ash were lucky to encounter them. Well. Steven mused, I don't know. I won't know. I am always liking rock and minerals, and my dream Pokemon had always been Steel type. It does not help that my starter is a Beldum, who had long since evolved into a Metagross. Sorry. For being no help. He forgot not everyone has it lucky like him, who is the heir of well-established corporate, or Lance who come from the long-line Dragon Tamer clan. Come to think of it. Wallace's ace Pokemon is his Milotic. But what was his starter? Probably a water type. Swampert maybe? Assuming he got standard regional starters. Well, guess that was food for thought. Steven resolves to ask Wallace the next time they meet. Do you want to wait until Pikachu conscious or do you want to continue the journey now? Ash checks on Pikachu. I think we can go now, but I won't be able to battle any Pokemon just yet. Pikachu is the only Pokemon I had. Ah, my bad. Viridian Forest is home to Bug-type Pokemon. There are also other types, such as Grass-type Oddish and Bellsprout, as well as Flying-type Pidgey, but mainly you will encounter Bug-type. This is one of the reasons why Viridian Forest is a popular hotspot for bug enthusiasts, however. You know, according to people, Ash stated, you would encounter a bug type every few meters or so but where is everyone? Chop, 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 chop. The vegetables were brutally murdered. For some weird reason, Ash and Steven had been walking for hours and hasn't encountered single Pokemon yet. Even as night comes and they set up a camp, they haven't seen anything. Nada. Zilch. Nothing. The forest is completely silent. It drove Ash mad. He hasn't decided what kind of Pokemon master he wants to be and he was hoping seeing new Pokemon can help him make his decision. Not far from him, Steven was frowning. Could it be those terrorists? What are they called again, Team Rocket? They better not. Muttered Ash darkly. It was when the hot pot was finished, the nearby bush moved by itself. Ash was about to jump in joy at finally finding a Pokemon, only to become disappointed when it turns out to be a girl several years senior of him. A girl who definitely had seen a better day. What with her messed up appearance? And carrying a giant mallet for some reason? People. The girl sobbed, almost collapsing due to exhaustion and relief. Finally. Someone. That was weird. You're okay, miss? No. Both males and their respective Pokemons jumped. No, I'm not. My bike got fried in the middle of the forest filled with these creepy little crawlers. And I'm getting lost in this forsaken forest. The name is Viridian Forest, actually. The girl glared at Ash with such intensity it might as well be a scary face. Shutting up now. That sounds unfortunate. Steven chooses his words carefully. What is your name? And what do you mean by your bike got fried? Misty. My name is Misty. Finally, they have a name. I was just doing my own way. I hate bug type, but my sisters made me do errands to Viridian. I was planning to pedal my bike and get out of the forest as fast as I can, just like before. But when I'm getting a break, this damned bolt of lightning comes out from nowhere and struck my bike. It was completely black and smoking to boot. My map was on my bike. And the worst part? It attracts these creepy crawlers and makes them think it was my fault. I run and the next thing I know I got lost. Ash winces. Ouch. That sounds bad, and wait. Lightning bolt? Yeah. Misty nodded. A stray lightning bolt that came out from nowhere. A powerful one at that. Did local Pikachu pull a party or something? What have I done to deserve that? Did I accidentally hit one? Or? While Misty was ranting, Ash and Steven exchanged glances. One thing in their mind. Whoops. Misty. I'm sorry. Ash apologizes. For making fun of your phobia. Do you want to join us? At least until we get out of this forest? This was the least Ash can do to apologize. Without admitting it was technically his, and his Pikachu's, fault. No way. He is not that stupid. That mallet looks hurt. Regret. Major regret. Bemoaned Ash, covering his ears with his hands. Pikachu even pulling his ears down. Absolute regret. If only I have cotton. Heck. Tissues would do just fine. Gaiawa. Bug. That's bug nest. You. Disgusting. Kaiawa. Stay away. Note to self, Steven massaged his temple. The shrieking was giving him headaches. The first thing I make when I got back home is noise-canceling headphones. Noise-canceling. It's kinda hard to listen to what Steven was saying, with Misty's bug phobia making itself known far and wide. Yes. One that works for voice with high octave. The current ones could dampen this, but not completely block the voice out. Not the one like, a glance to Misty, this one. Ash nodded, but then a thought appeared in his mind. Why not noise filtering? You know, if the thing only filters loud voice and let completely normal voice be heard? In case there's Pokemon approaching or something. Steven paused and hummed. That was possible. Yes. Using technology, we could be limiting the hearing frequency range, which would make any sound beyond the set range would be unheard but won't make the wearer completely deaf to the world. Maybe with options to freely choose the upper and lower limit would be a good addition. Ash, you're genius. Really? I don't think so. I mean, I just blurted out. It was you who do the thinking. Regardless, I won't consider it as an option if you hadn't spoken up. Yeah, but... Steven nearly tumbled down when Misty crashed and clinging onto him like a lifeline. Save me! She cried. Ash immediately turned around in alert. Pikachu was battle-ready. They, however, only see one thing, and that was... Ash face faulted. A cater pie. He groaned. It was partially muffled since his face was directly touching the ground. Misty, if it was Beedrill then I could understand. Those things can be dangerous, especially when angered. But a cater pie? Come on. Which part of it that was scary? I mean, it was not even prepared to battle. Here I show you. He gets up and beckoned the cater pie to come closer. It does. It even let Ash pick itself and being cute. See? Not scary. Adorable even. No. Shrieked Misty, clinging like glue. Apparently finding Steven a much preferable meat shield / safety comfort, much to his chagrin. Keep it away. That evil thing tried to sneak on me. Hey. That's rude. Cater pie just wants to say hi. Maybe he wants to tell you to shut up since your voice is grating on everyone's nerves. Well, I don't want to say hi to it. Snapped Misty. And I'll shut up if these creepy crawlers stop sneaking on me. This is Viridian Forest. That's like, impossible. Possible if I show them how much I don't want to see them. Was it you who made me unable to find any Pokemon yesterday? You and your banshee screams? Say what, you brat? All right. Stop it, both of you. Steven had enough. Misty, I understand that you have severe fear and dislikes to bug type, but please refrain from screaming every 5 minutes or so. While you don't like a bug, some people do and been trying to capture the Pokemon, and because of your action, they are having a hard time. So please at least keep your voice quiet and pretend you see nothing, okay? That way you can tell them you are not interested without bothering anyone else. Oh, and please let go of me. It's becoming hard to breathe. Moo. Ash, I get it, you are angry, but please don't push Misty either. Keep in mind everyone has their own likes and dislikes. Misty had stated. And prove that she doesn't like bug type. Don't shove one under her nose. That's just mean. Right? Children. Both of them. Are you too good? Then let's continue. Fine, replied Misty, but she then hissing furiously. Why are you carrying that along? Ash crossed his arm. Pikachu perching in one shoulder, Caterpie in another. Because Caterpie wants to. He replied in an isn't it obvious tone. Why aren't you putting it away in Pokeball? I said Caterpie want to come, I didn't say I caught him. Why don't you? I thought you were on its side? What? Too weak for your standard. Ash glared. Watch your mouth. Caterpie is not weak. I'm not catching him because I haven't decided whether I want to be a specialist or generalist master. Misty looked surprised. Wow. I never expected a kid like you know that much. Most kids his age that Misty encountered usually threw Pokeball at anything that moves. Or any Pokemon that caught their fancy, so mostly defaulted to generalist trainer, but not to the point of becoming generalist master. Not many think about being a specialist unless they are born in a specialist family or inspired by a master specialist. Steven told me. Ash huffed. So until I decide what kind of master I want to be, I'm not catching new Pokemon. So you want to solo your gym battle if you haven't decided yet? Big talk. Well, then I guess no boulder badge to you. Hell no. I'm not skipping pewter. Pikachu and I are going to win. Pika Pika, chew. Soloing rock-type gym with electric Pokemon? Are you dumb or just naive? There's no way you can win. Electric type did not deal much damage to rock type. And if it's dual rock and ground, you might as well forfeit the battle. Pika Pika Pie, Pikachu Pika. Yep, what Pikachu said. Type advantage is not all deciding factors in the battle. Ash replied. The loss against Steven was. Ouch. But it also opens his eyes that he can win. He just has to think up unconventional tactics and make Pikachu learn all available moveset from all type moves he can learn. Quick attack is normal type so Pikachu can learn normal type moves, right? It can deal some damage to rock type. Not much, but certainly more than what electric type dishes out. Well, dream on. Now if only he can shock this girl. But that would make Steven disappointed in him. So, yeah. He can only seethe. Oh, how he regrets asking her to join in. They can't dump her fast enough. Dumping. Hey, pissed, Steven, he whispered, carefully so Misty won't hear it. Can your Pokemon, you know, one that knows move teleport, dump Misty outside Viridian Forest? No. Teleport only works if either Metagross or I can see or have been to the destination, which neither of us is. There are blind teleports, like teleporting to a random place, but it only works in a short distance. Answered Steven, eyes focused on the map. Making mark there. It was not about power. It was all about landing. Blind teleporter usually don't know where they would land, and I can tell you, it was not a fun experience. Steven winces and Ash wonders what kind of experience did the older man had, to confidently saying those. Oh. I thought you might be looking out for Scyther. Scyther is rare, but then again, Pokemon sightings depend on luck. Either you are extremely lucky to encounter rare Pokemon, or better yet a shiny Pokemon, or you are very unlucky and not encountering any. At least not the one in your preference. Why would I want a Scyther? Because I was using Pokédex to look up at Kanto bug type last night and find out that if Scyther was given a metal coat, it can evolve into Scizor, which is dual bug and steel type. Steven paused and turned to Ash. His eyes are gleaming with interest. I change my mind. How does Scyther look like? X. They were stopping for the lunch break. Ash feels like he gonna blow another fuse if Misty keep muttering dark things under her breath whenever she saw a bug type, which was, like once every 2 or 3 minutes. Didn't her throat ever get sore? Not to mention she sent a dark look to Caterpie. Poor Caterpie feels unloved. So the first chance he got, Ash slip away for some me time. He flopped down under a tree, quite a fair distance. Now that Misty isn't scaring any and all Pokemon with her Banshee screams, Ash can see what Viridian Forest had to offer. He can see Caterpie and Metapods by the tree, eating leaves. He thinks he can see some Kakuna. No Beedrill on sight. Good. Ash thinks he saw a Bellsprout or two from the bushes, but either he imagining it or he did saw them, but they went away. It was a peaceful sight. Ash notices that Caterpie was moving, and pointedly looking at a family of Butterfree with so much longing and envy. What's wrong? Caterpie ter. Ash scrunched his face, looking back and forth between Caterpie and the passing Butterfree. Do you want to become Butterfree? Caterpie Caterpie. Well, then, I guess you should start with eating leaves. Tons and tons of leaves, so you can grow strong. And then train yourself while you're a Caterpie. After all, a Metapod only can learn Harden, unless someone captures them and willing to spend money on TM. It was Butterfree which has a large move pool. Caterpie has a small one but has better body flexibility compared to Metapod. Wow. He's thinking hard and Caterpie is not even his. Maybe he should just. Got ya. Ga? Ash was startled when suddenly a coughing was on his face and sprouting purple smog. He coughing and hacking, and didn't realize Pikachu was not on his shoulder anymore until he heard him screaming. Pikachu was under wrap by that Dmed snake. Pikachu. Cough, give him back. Ha, as if, replied James. This Pikachu will be compensation for what you did to us back in Viridian Twerp. Sore loser much? Maybe I won't have to do anything if you don't attack. Shut it. Snapped Jessie. Maybe we should take that ugly Caterpie of yours for good measure. Though it looks pretty weak, this gonna be easy. After all, there's no Nurse Joy to save your butt. Caterpie is not ugly. Nor it was Ash's, but details. I'll show you. Caterpie, help me out, please. Caterpie. Caterpie nodded. Heh. You ask instead of commanding? You're pretty pathetic, aren't you? Ash glared. Shut up. You shut up, twerp. Ash had to do a double take. Okay. That Meowth actually talking. What the F dash? Take this, Fury slash. Sheet. Ash dodged and rolled out of the way. Caterpie, string shot. Caterpie shot sticky mucus at Meowth's feet. Make him stuck, but not for long, as Meowth simply slashed himself free. Okay. New plan. String shot to the CLA. Coughing, tackle. Thuck. A weight slammed onto Ash's side, sending him tumbles. Ow. Coughing only weighed 1 kilogram, but it still hurt. Right. He got 2 Pokemon to watch. At the least. Assuming Ekans is out of the battle due to keeping an eye on Pikachu, who's trying to break free, and these 2 Team Rockets didn't have another Pokemon. Now Coffin, Poison Smog. Crap. Caterpie, string shot, hurry up. But don't snap the string yet. Caterpie did just that. A string shot cover Coughing's face. There's a long strand between Caterpie's mouth and Coughing, as per Ash's request. Ash quickly grabbed the string and yanked Coughing close, before spin around. Pulling Coughing along and using it to hit Meowth and Ekans. When Ash releases it, the Pokemon was sent hitting Ekans and got swirly eyes. Not fainted yet, but confused. The hit was enough for Ekans to loosen its wrap, giving Pikachu all chance he needs to wiggle his way out. You DMN punk. The Meowth didn't appreciate it and start attacking again. Ash jumped back. The attack got him, even if it just leave a shallow scratch on his arm. Caterpie, string shot to the claw on second thought, continuous string shot all the way. Up to down, front to back, left to right. Confused but complied, Caterpie shot sticky strings. In no time Meowth was mummified all way from top to toe, with only the mouth can be seen for breathing purposes. It was hilarious seeing the feline Pokemon try to get free from the bindings by jumping and wiggling and shaking around. Hey! Let me go, you stupid bug. It was a noisy and mouthy mummy. Nah. I think not. Ash waved his hand. Pikachu, tackle Meowth. Bam! The mummified Pokemon was thrown back and hit the 2 Team Rocket members. Ash snickered because Caterpie's string shot was still fresh and sticky. The 3 of them are stuck together. Hearing a hissing sound, Ash quickly snapped his attention to Ekans. Alright. Let's wrap this up. Caterpie, shut Ekans' mouth. Pikachu, coat yourself in electricity and quick attack. Pika. Covered in crackling yellow energy, Pikachu runs towards Ekans. Normally he had to worry about bite or the like, but with Caterpie glued Ekans' jaw shut, Pikachu can freely approach headfirst. Chew! Bam! A hit straight to the jaw sends Ekans into the pile of a sticky mess. Thundershock. Zap! Blair. Team Rocket blasted off again? Ash put a hand over his eyes. Squinted and trying to predict where the Team Rocket blasted off. Wow! He said. How did the explosion happens? I thought the coughing was unconscious. Pikapi Pika. Cater pie. Yeah. That was kinda bad luck. Ash nodded. He gets the gist of what the Pokemon is trying to say. Or you are just being totally awesome. Good job, you too. They are preened at the praise. You know, I actually was hesitating about this, Ash said, pulling out an empty Pokeball from his pocket jacket and enlarge it. I was thinking about what kind of master Pokemon I wanted to be, especially with all those generalist specialist and all that stuff. I forgot I prepare myself for all kinds of Pokemon I might encounter. Basically, I had the answer all the time and was being a total idiot about it. He is such an idiot. So, Cater Pie, I should have done this before ordering you. Want to join my team? Cater Pie didn't even hesitate. It headbutted the Pokeball and let itself be caught. Instant capture. Welcome to the team, Cater Pie. Ash smiled. You two are massive JRKS. Misty was a glaring hole at them. What's wrong? You two leave me alone for hours. Do you have any idea how nerve-wracking it was? Huh? Ash turned to Steven. Now that she's saying it, Steven's jacket was not as impeccable as usual. And his hat has a large cut on it as if he was being attacked. I was having self-discovery and making my decision, Ash said. I'm aiming to be generalist type master. Being a specialist feels stifling and limiting. I want to see and make friends with all kinds of Pokemon in the world. That took you so long? Well, that and I was attacked, but I managed to win. Cater Pie and Pikachu make a good team. Misty looks green and horrified. She must really hate bugs. What about you? Steven just threw a Pokeball. It let out a bipedal Pokemon a head taller than Ash with light green body and scythe blades for arms. Huh? Isn't that? You caught a Scyther? How lucky was he? Ash was just telling him about Scyther not even an hour ago and he had caught one now? Jealous. Perks of having psychic Pokemon. Grinned Steven. I have my Pokemons on the lookout and inform me if they saw Scyther. I have to say, this fella is a feisty battler. Good thing my Pokemon are steel type and having hard skin armor, or they must be bleeding and in danger right now. On second thought, Ash was glad it was not him who encountering Scyther. Neither Pikachu nor Cater Pie was prepared to fight a strong and fast opponent, and they are rather squishy. Congratulations, then. Yes, congratulations both of you. Can you put them away? Snapped Misty from above. What the? Since when, and more importantly why she climbs a tree? Miss? You might want to come down. Stated Steven, a tad worried. That branch doesn't look safe. Not until you put these bugs away. Ash blinked. Once, twice, 3 times. He tilted his head. Don't you know bugs lived on the trees? I mean, I pretty sure saw some Cater Pie and Weedle live on trees and eating leaves. There's also Beedrill's nest, but Ash forgot whether it was on the trees or not. Hopefully not. Misty promptly screeches and climbs down. Alright. Now we're rested and you get brand new Pokemon. Can we please leave now? Alright. Geez. You should have bought Repel from Poke Center. That was on my bike. Ah. Figures. Well, let's hoping they won't get lost in the forest. Pewter City is rock gray. And by that Steven means rock gray. The color of stone and earth. If one looked from a bird's point of view from far, far above, it might look like the town was made from rock. The way the evening light touched the city give it amber touch. Steven instantly loves it. Why he just discover it now? Oh right. He never properly toured Kanto before. His previous visit was during tech exhibition and science fair that was held in Kanto, it always limited to either Viridian City or Celadon City. No wonder he discovers this gem just now. He thinks he gonna go easy on Lance's wallet. Finally we're out of that forest. Misty stretched happily. The mallet strapped on her back with her Pokeballs are in her bag. I could live without entering that wretched place again. And I could do without your screeching. Muttered Ash, so low only Steven and Pikachu could hear it due to the close proximity. At least I got Pidgeotto. But I can't properly battling other trainers in peace. You're bothering us. He paused. Except for the last one. That idiot had it coming. He amended. Steven just laughed. Oh, he knows. He knows which one Ash means, and he can accept excessive violence that one time. In fact, he internally cheers on Misty when she hit that kid. Come on. Let's find Poke Center and grab some rest. He said, pushing the kids. They didn't protest. It was common knowledge and unofficial official rule for trainers, especially rookie trainer. The first thing you do when arrived in new places was to find the Poke Center. For Pokemon checkup, because who knows what you've encountered on the way, booking an empty room, if available, and gathering information. Then you make plans of what will you do. Or simply rest after long trekking. The last one was their plan. By the time they arrived at Poke Center, it was dinner time. A quick checkup on Pokemon and requesting room, and then dinner. He almost asks for some steel or metal for his Pokemon's food. Luckily he manages to catch himself. Some Pokemon might require a unique diet, but metal is definitely up there on the weird scale, and he has no doubts he will get strange looks if he did ask for those metals. Good thing his Pokemon's diet isn't steel exclusive and they can eat normal poke food. Speak of weird. Is that normal behavior of Pikachu? He pointed at Pikachu, who happily devoured the entire ketchup bottle. Beat me, replied Ash, equally stunned. I'm new, remember? I never meet any trainer who has Pikachu before. They turned to Misty. Don't look at me. She raised her hands in defense. I'm water specialist trainer, I won't know about this stuff. Oh, guess I'll ask Professor Oak then. The dinner was uneventful, with the exception of Ash being scolded for letting his Caterpie eating the plant decor, much to him and Caterpie's sheepish embarrassment. He was told that while giving his Pokemon healthy food is commendable, please do it in moderation lest Caterpie will deforest a good part of the nearby forest, in which Ash replied that it was Caterpie, not Snorlax. Steven was pretty sure the other Pokemons ribbed Caterpie for it if their interaction was anything to go by. Well, it was not Steven's problem anyway. He retreated for the night, calling his Pokemons, and made headway to his room. The room was small, with 2 sets of bunk beds with a desk and a chair between the beds. Both Steven and Ash claimed the lower beds, leaving the upper beds empty for taken. Misty was in the next room over. As he lays on the bed, Steven feels his phone vibrated. Oh, it was a message from Lance. Cape Dragon. Hiya Steven. It's almost been 3 days. How are things on your end? Me. Just get into Pewter City. Nice city, BTW. Why you never told me before? Cape Dragon. You never ask. Also, just arrived? Thought you and the kid halfway into Cerulean. Me. Got lost in Viridian Forest. Took us hours to get back on track. Bonus, Ash got Pidgeotto, I can train my new Scyther. Cape Dragon. LOL. Congrats for Scyther though. Anything else? Me. You sound like a stalker. Cape Dragon. Oi. Me. Kidding. We meet this Mallet girl who has massive with us till we got to Pewter. Cape Dragon. An entomophobia. In bug hotspot. Straight face winky face. Me. Told us she was doing errands. Probably drew short straw or something. Also, you might want to put a big plaque with bold words, do not use Dragon Beam at both forest entrances. Cape Dragon. WTF did you mean? Me. We met this strange challenger. Said he was beaten by other trainers and want to win to restore his honor. Cape Dragon. Nothing wrong with that. Me. Except he challenges Ash while pointing a sword, which I have to inform you, a very much real sword. Who the F let a kid carrying a real weapon around? Kid's not even trained his Pokemon properly. Make his pincer spam Dragon Beam. That hit Beedrill Nest BTW. Got a blind teleport. Which how we got lost. Me. Misty, the mallet girl, hit this samurai wannabe with her mallet. Can't fault her. Those bees come straight from hell. Cape Dragon. Yikes. Right, I'm gonna make that warning plaque now. Can't believe someone is that stupid. Steven smiled and closed the chat. He then scrolling on the net. Checking up on what happens back at Hoenn. Nothing exciting except the Hoenn Grand Festival season gonna start soon. Wallace will be busy then. Oh, wait. There's gossip about his disappearance. People speculating whether he's sick, having a fight with Elite Four, on romantic rendezvous, or visiting yet another excavation site. Some of his diehard fans speculating which site he was on and planning to stake them out. Thank Arceus he's in Kanto. The door creaked open and Ash entered in with his Pokemon in tow. Well, minus Caterpie, which Steven assumed was in Pokeball. Pidgeotto quickly flew and perched on the railing on the upper bunk bed. The boy pulling out a note and a pen from his bag and began writing something, frowning. A poker dollar for your thought? Ash took off his hat and run fingers through his hair. Just thinking about how to beat the gym. It's annoying. He sighed. I know you prove me type advantage is not everything, but all I can think of is using Caterpie's string shot to cover the ground so whatever the Pokemon he's up against will get stuck. But if they have an Onix or worse a Steelix, I'm screwed. Steven hummed. You only use what your Pokemon know but in a new way. Commendable, since you have a surprise element to it, but it won't be enough. Try teaching them new moves. Well, about that, Ash turned to him, embarrassed. How do I teach Pokemon new moves? Steven stared. A minute passed. 2 minutes. He had to bit his tongue to prevent a laugh escaped his lips. Oh, so that's why. He can't believe he forget one teeny bit of info about rookie trainer. About how most of them have zero idea how to teach their Pokemon a new move, without spending money on TMs. There should be a computer in Poke Center. he said. Use it to find the move you want to teach your Pokemon with, then watch the video. Better yet, watch it with your Pokemon. Maybe you can borrow a cable so you can download the video and copy it to your phone. Make sure you properly understand how the move works before attempting it. I recommended you use the training yard behind, in case an accident happens. Ash beams at him. Thanks. Steven nodded and turned. Just before he closed his eyes, he remembers something. Steelix has to be steel type, right? Dual steel and ground. That's why I was frustrated. The ground type instantly negated electric type, otherwise, Pikachu was my choice. How rare it was to find a wild Steelix. Very. You have better luck catching Onix and evolve it with Metal Coat. Same with Sizer, actually. Got it. X. Ash set his phone's alarm to ring at the exact 5 o'clock in the morning. Putting it on decent loud, 85 out of 100, and placed the phone near the edge table next to his bed to amplify the volume. His roommates aren't impressed. Pidgeotto screeched, Pikachu shocks him, again, and Steven glares at him before throwing a shoe, which knocked Ash square in the face and leave a footprint. Ash sheepishly turned off the alarm. With one last glare, Steven turned around and pulled the blanket overhead. Within a minute, a soft snore can be heard. It took Ash 10 minutes just to wash the footprint off of his face. Another 5 to wash out the mud taste from his tongue. Once he was properly bathed, and shivered due to the cold morning air which prompted him to put on a jacket over a long-sleeved shirt, he made his way to the lobby. Indeed, there's a computer there. Just next to communication device for any trainers that don't have a phone. While waiting for the computer to turn on, Ash opens his Pokédex and see what his Pokémon was able to learn. Pikachu can learn normal type moves, such as Play Nice, Tail Whip, Double Team, Feint, Slam, and some Physic type moves such as Agility and Light Screen. Double Team and Feint will be difficult, though. Caterpie, as expected, can only learn Tackle, String Shot, and Bug Bite. Ouch. As expected, it was Butterfree who has a wide moveset variety without resorting to TM. His newest teammate, Pidgeotto, has ability Keen Eye, yay, with Move Gust, Quick Attack, Sand, Attack, Tackle, and Fly, with locked egg move Steel Wing. How she learns Fly when, according to Pokédex, and the internet the computer had turned on BTW, it was taught by TM, Ash would never know, but he was glad for it. So Ash look out for Move Wing Attack, Whirlwind, Twister, Feather Dance, Agility, Roost, Tailwind, Mirror Move, Air Slash, and Razor Wind. Though he has a feeling Pidgeotto won't be able to learn the last two till much, much later. Hopefully Whirlwind, Twister, and Agility are reachable, as do Wing Attack. Wing Attack won't be used unless it was a last resort, but it would serve in long run as a base for Air Slash. Pidgeotto's Wing Twister, at least, is a ranged attack. Combined with Fly and Pidgeotto has some chance of victory. Nodding, Ash decided to download the video containing how the move performed. Since it was short and didn't take much space, it was quick. However, when he was downloading a video for Pikachu's moveset, he saw an interesting video. One explanation, and Ash wonder if Pikachu can learn it too. Technically he can, but using TM. However, Pidgeotto can use Fly without TM, so who says Pikachu can't pull the same miracle? It would take some time, but the move looks both cool and powerful, it gonna worth it in the long shot. Maybe Dig, too? Nah. He had a plan with Caterpie, and that plan will make Dig a pain in the butt to execute. Nope. Save Dig for another time. Alright. Time for training. Growl. Correction, time for breakfast, and then training. For some weird reason, Ash feels like he's forgetting something. X. The sun is up, the stomach is filled, and Ash is standing on the training ground behind the Poke Center. His 3 Pokemon facing him. Alright, everyone. The pewter gym leader, according to Nurse Joy, is a guy named Brock and he uses Rock type. It's a 2 versus 2 battle, so only 2 of you who gonna go, he said. Caterpie will go first. With any luck, you can cover the ground with strong shots, making whatever Pokemon Brock threw on us stuck there. This could be useful in preventing Dig. Add hopefully Rock Throw as well. Depends on the stone size, it is either stuck on the ground or can be lifted with some difficulty. Caterpie's training plan was for him to make the stickiest string shot in large quantities, and then tackle jump from one place to another, in case he has to dodge an attack. Nothing new or potentially dangerous. The other 2, however. Since Caterpie fills the first slot, only one of you will fight in our first gym. You 2 will compete for the slot, okay? Pikachu and Pidgeotto stood straight, listening with intent. I've checked your move set. Currently, you don't have the best match, so we gonna correct it by training new moves. Pikachu will learn move Agility, Tail Whip, and Double Team. There's a move that potentially useful against rock and ground, but you need Tail Whip done pat first. Pikachu perks up at that. Pidgeotto will learn Whirlwind, Wing Attack, Agility, and Twister. For now, focus on long-range attacks such as Whirlwind and Twister. Wing Attack won't do much against Rock-type, but it will be base for the more advanced attack in the future. Pidgeotto puffed her feathers. So, let's start with watching how it performed, nay? They gathered together. Ash played the downloaded video. First is Tail Whip, followed by Whirlwind, Double Team, Twister, and lastly Agility. He played each video 3 to 5 times to make sure his Pokemon understand. Then, the training begins. Double Team makes the user move so fast they leave a doppelganger. So Pikachu will learn Agility first, which he has to run so fast. Faster than he ever be. It was no easy, as he sometimes tripped over his feet and tumbling on the ground. But he would get back and start running again. Similarly, Pidgeotto has some problems, mainly she can't keep the tornado-like form a proper Twister move tends to take. It would last for 2 seconds, at best, and then dispersed into Gust. Or maybe Whirlwind. Who knows? It frustrated her to no end. She tried to fly in a circle while creating Gust. That did not work. All it does was making Pidgeotto confused and blew her away. Ash had to catch her before she hit the tree. Honestly, the only one who remotely had luck was Caterpie, who trains his string shot by using it to swing from branch to branch and attempt to make a lasso out of it. The slow process made Ash doubt this was a good idea. Or, he muttered, we are doing this the wrong way. He pulled out his phone and rewatched the video about Agility. The Pokemon in the video run fast, it sometimes flickered out of existence. The video cut before it attacks its opponent. Ash pushes the replay button. Again. 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 How can these Pokemon perform Agility, and how did it perform the move? Just running around won't cut it, even if it did raise stamina and building up speed. Pikachu needs to be faster. Quicker. Alright. Let's change tactics, start with Agility first. Pikachu, try using Quick Attack, but don't stop or hit anything. Pidgeotto, try the same, be mindful of the trees and poles. Keep energy running and stable. Pika. Giat. The 2 Pokemon did as told. Soon enough, the clearing was filled with 2 Pokemon who running flying at high speeds, their form become blurs. Ash had to tuck Caterpie close to his body to protect him. Eyes watching the progress with a critical look. He notices something. Pidgeotto, keep it up. I'm almost losing sight of you. He shouted. That did it. After a few more moments, Pidgeotto finally vanished from view, only for seconds later reappear several meters away, repeated again, soaring in the sky, flash and reappeared. Twang! And hit the lamppost. Even a Pokemon with keen eye can't avoid hitting things when flying at high speed using newly learned move. Ash winced and recalled her. Pidgeotto's success in learning Agility pushed Pikachu to do just as good. He pushing himself harder. Using tree, bench, lamppost, and even bigger rock as a jumping pad to add speed. Ash thinks Pikachu briefly managed to use Agility, but that lasts even quicker than Pidgeotto's, so he wasn't sure whether it's really happened or just a trick of the light. Ash shook his head. No time to ponders. Pikachu almost got Agility unlocked. The problem is he's reaching his stamina limits. Pikachu line isn't known for their stamina or strength, and he just got Pikachu in less than 1 week. Ash can see, his speed had decreased. The blurry form starts to become clearer. Sign of exhaustion. But Pikachu stubbornly tried to keep running. Ash has the feeling Pikachu won't stop until either he doesn't have energy left, or until he got Agility done. In a way, Ash was proud of his starter. In another hand, he was worried. Then he got an idea. Pikachu, try channeling electricity to your feet. Use the energy to increase your speed. There's something about nerves neutroni whatever. The thing is, it's like electricity in the human body. If Pikachu, who has higher electricity, can channel it to his legs, maybe he can weaponize it. Pikachu paused to catch his breath and think over it. Then, sparks began to gather around his feet. All 4 of them. Starting from palm to wrist to joints. Pikachu takes 1 step forward, as if testing his movement, and then flash. Yellow blur raced throughout the area and leaving crackling electricity in his wake. Ash noted with alarm that the ground has a minor scorching mark. On the upside, with boost Pikachu finally got Agility. Now he just needs to keep it up without a boost. Then Pikachu did something that worried Ash greatly. He jumped off a large stone, heading to the tree branches. With such speed and power behind it, Ash watches with wide eyes how Pikachu broke through the branch and the one above it before he runs out of fuel and fell down. Crash! He landed on the fallen branch, rubbing his head while groaning in pain. Ash quickly rushed to him, checking for visible injury. What happened here? It was Steven. He was standing at the edge of the training ground with a face full of disbelief. Ash winces. I can explain. How was your Pokemon? Ash winces as Pikachu grumbles in his hold with an X-shaped bandage decorated the Pokemon's head. Well, Pidgeotto has a headache after slamming against the pole, but otherwise, she is fine. Pikachu. Well, according to Nurse Joy, the only reason his legs' nerves aren't shot was because his body used to conduct electricity. But this is the first time Pikachu focused most of the electricity on his legs rather than spread it evenly, so he must take it easy for the rest of the day. Apparently, Pikachu is still young. Forcing him to continue training will have a bad result in the future. That, and he hit his head rather hard. Steven nodded. I see. Then, what's your plan for the rest of the day? He asks. Ash. Didn't think about it. Honest. His plan for today was helping his Pokemon training so he can create a plan against Brock tomorrow, and that's it. That and thinking about what he would have for lunch. So when Pikachu cleared with suggestion to not training for an entire day to let his legs healed. Well, needless to say, he has no idea what to do with his newfound free time. Want to visit the museum and walks around the town with me? Offered Steven, extending a hand to Ash. If I wasn't mistaken, the Pewter Museum of Science is the main attraction in this city. Why not give it a visit, while you have free time? Ash thinking about it. Don't take long for him to make his choice. Sure. Beat lazing around all day. He took Steven's hand and noticed that for someone so lithe, Steven has a strong and firm grip with a calloused hand. Now that they aren't in a hurry to reach the Poke Center, Ash has the chance to look around. Pewter City is bigger than Pallet Town. Like, maybe 3 times bigger? Somewhere around that. More people and more building. Bigger, too. Looking at it made Ash realized what a small place Pallet Town was. It only has 2 eatery and 3 stores as well as 1 small market. No Poke Center or Pokemart. Here, Poke Center and Pokemart aside, Ash count they had passed at least 4 different eateries, a hotel, a candy store, a toy store, 2 boutiques, and several dozen houses. It was humbling. In an overwhelming way. But Steven looks fine if a bit interested. Is it normal? The town. Is all city. Like this? This big and busy? Yes. Actually, Pewter City is milder compares to bigger city. Say, Celadon. Ash gaped. Celadon is even bigger than this? Serious? How much bigger? Main gym aside, why is the city so big? Here we are. Ash blinked. Huh? They're here already? 2 tickets, please. The man manning the ticket booth looked at them and raised an eyebrow at Steven. Ash tilted his head. What? What happened? When the ticket man does so, Steven looks surprised before angry? Ridiculed? Something like that. His hand also makes some weird motions like dispersing something. The ticket man just shrugged. 100 poke dollar. Ash quickly paid half of it while Steven covers the other half. The museum is big and well lit. Ash feels oddly out of place due to its sheer cleanliness and elegance. There's a lot of painting hanging on the walls, and many things displayed inside the glass showcase. The old, antique vase that looks like has seen better days, stones of various sizes and color, and fossilized Pokemon skeleton. Ash paused when they passed a series of displayed stones. His eyes caught on a stone that was in bad condition. It resembling a sun, orange, and full of cracks. A single touch can destroy it. Heck, Ash was sure it missing a ray. The label declared it was sunstone. Whoever digged that up is either an amateur or idiot who should have been banned from the excavation site. Steven also noticed it and he was frowning. Poor thing, it was destroyed. The scientist team must be having a hard time putting them together. Even then, it must be treated with the utmost care and impossible to use, ever. Use? Use for what? Sunstone is an evolution stone. Explained Steven. Evolution stone is a special stone that can trigger an evolution if given to certain Pokemon species. Like Firestone trigger Eevee into Flareon, Growlithe into Arcanine, and Vulpix into Ninetales? Correct. Sunstone can trigger similar evolution if given to certain Pokemon. Gloom would become Bellossom. Sunkern would become Sunflora. Gloom. That was Oddish's evolution, right? Sunkern. Never heard. Is it Hoenn Pokemon? But it would require the evolution stone in one piece and in good condition. Something like this one. Had long lost its power. I see. Why? I don't know. But the most acceptable answer is that a full, undamaged evolution stone contains a special kind of energy that would only synchronize with certain species. If the stone cracked, or worse shattered, then the energy will dissipate till nothing is left, like if you make a hole in a bucket full of water. The shards could have contained some power, but that is rare. Most of the time, shards are an empty vessel. Hence, the bigger stone is valued more. Putting the shards together to recreate the whole stone is not a solution. Certainly not if you want to use them, because only two ways things are going to end up. The best case scenario where nothing will happen. And the worst case scenario where the energy clashes with each other and resulting in an explosion. Ash winces. That sounds. Ouch. Just, ouch. Well, that's why anyone who goes digging is cautioned to be careful. Spade and Pokemon who no dig are allowed, but the heavy machine or Arceus forbid a bomb is big no. Huh? But isn't explosion like destroying stuff? Who's dumb enough to use it to unearth fragile things? Oh, trust me. Idiots do exist. One can only wonder whether they were dropped on the head as a baby. Deciding to shift the topic into a lighter one, Ash looks around and finds a purple stone. What about this one? Ah, Dusk Stone. Like Sunstone, it's yet another evolutionary stone. It can evolve Misdreavus into Mismagius. If Sunstone's well-known characteristic is its shape, Duskstone's well-known characteristic is its color. The dark purple that seemed to hold shadow, like amethyst with dull gloss. What's an amethyst? It's a type of gemstone, specifically, a violet variety of quartz. It's categorized as silicate mineral and oh right. Do you know that birthstone is a thing? Well, it's a gem associated with the month of birth. Amethyst is the birthstone for February and Pisces zodiac. When was your birthday, Ash? My birthday? May 22nd. That was like, over a week ago. Then if we follow the month calendar, your birthstone would be emerald, but if we follow zodiacal calendar, it's agate. Fun fact, several centuries ago, several gemstones represent the same month. Agate and emerald both represent May. Now that's a combo. One is a highly sought precious gemstone, other is vary in color. Agate is varying from bright blue to glowing amber to deep black. And you want to be a generalist master. Is that a coincidence or a sign? Curious, isn't it? Huh? That being said, agate has many types. Blue lace agate, green moss agate, plain green agate, black agate, Botswana agate, dragon-veined agate, cracked agate, and dendrite agate to name a few. Lace agate exhibits lace-like patterns like eyes, swirls, bands, or zigzags, while moss agate has a moss-like pattern. Dendrite agate doesn't look natural due to the amazing lifelike fern-like black and gray markings, but they actually are. The color and pattern are caused by impurities and alternating bands within the stone. Produced as groundwaters of different composition seeped into the cavity and cause chemistry change. Some of these cavities are lined with crystals, and those are known as geodes. The name is similar to Geodude, cute ain't it? Agate is also of Chidekani variety with SiO2 aka silicon dioxide formula, with hardness being 6.5 to 7 in Mohs scale. Lower than emerald, which sat on 7.5 to 8 on the Mohs scale. Good? What even is the Mohs scale? Let's say is the measurement for stone and gemstone scratch resistance. The weakest are cesium and rubidium, and the hardest are diamond and carbonado. Ordinary steel was on scale 4 to 4.5, but enhanced hardened steel was on scale ice is on 1.5, though. But ice isn't stone. No, but it's count as a mineral. The ice that formed naturally, at least does. If we ever went into a cold cave and see ice spikes, now those are an example. Speak of spike and cave, you must know about stalactite and stalagmite. Now stalagmites deviated from ancient language stalagmias, which means dropping or trickling, which refers to how it was made, due to accumulation of material deposited on the floor from ceiling drippings. Stalagmite is typically composed of calcium carbonate, but may consist of other things, depends on location. There are lava stalagmites that formed in the lava tube, there's icicles or ice stalagmites in an extremely cold cave. The most common ones are speleothems, which usually formed in limestone caves. And limestone is a type of carbonate sedimentary rock composed mostly by minerals calcite and aragonite, which are different crystal forms of calcium carbonate. Oh right. Aragonite has a unique crystal lattice that differs from the usual lattice, resulting in different crystal shape, namely an orthorhombic crystal system with a acicular crystal. Repeated twinning results in pseudo-hexagonal forms. Aragonite may be columnar or fibrous, occasionally in branching helictites form called phosphary or flowers of iron. Aragonite forms naturally in almost all mollusk shells and the calcareous endoskeleton of warm and cold water corals. In a way, aragonite can be called a fossil. What a coincidence they now entered the fossil exhibition, where they saw fossilized ancient Pokemon such as Kabutops and Aerodactyl. Ash look at the fossil, trying to imagine how they look like when alive, while Steven chittering random facts about fossil and stones include that due to the frailty of bones, the fossil is glued together using special glue and support item. The Aerodactyl fossil was being supported by well-placed cables that hang from the ceiling. Deliberately put high out of reach so no nosy nor mischievous hand may accidentally cause some damage. Also, the reason why no Pokemon indoor rule was put into place, and why they are followed by security who continually giving Ash a stink eye. It was only because of Steven's firm grip that Ash didn't turn around and snapped at the security. When they reached the second floor, and stopped being trailed around by the security, Steven briefly froze, before letting out a hearty chuckle. This reminds me of home. It does? Ash tilted his head. Which part? That one. The older male pointed at the space shuttle. I have a home in Moss Deep City. One of the main attractions of Moss Deep City is the Space Center. The Space Center was built because of the place's ideal weather. The scientists there worked together to create a successful rocket launch. The last time I heard, a satellite malfunctioned due to crash with a small asteroid, so the scientist was debating whether to send astronauts to fix the satellite in the space or sending a rocket to get the satellite back on Earth before fixing it and relaunch it back to space. That sounds fun. Ash replied. Can people ride the rocket? Only the authorized astronauts, sorry. Ah. There's Whalemare watching, if you like to visit. What's a Whalemare? Steven's answer is to whip out his Pokédex and show Ash the picture of Pokemon in question. Word of advice, unless you have an Everstone, which would prevent Pokemon evolution, or owning a private lake, or living on the beachside, don't catch a Whalemare. You can't afford it when it evolves into Wylord. Very few people do. Why? Wylord is 47 feet and 7 inches long, or about 14.5 meters. About the size of a small ship? And by ship, I mean ship, not boat. Ash pales. Yikes. Don't catch indeed. Even if Wylord is a good way to shut Gary up, there's no way he can take care of that behemoth. Where even is he gonna put it? The lake near Professor Oak's laboratory? They spend so much time at the museum, that when they finally out, it was way past lunch hour. They're having late lunch at a small family restaurant not far from the museum. Huh. That felt nice. Exclaimed Ash, having just devouring an entire portion of Big Burger by himself. Steven laughed. It certainly was an interesting experience seeing Ash eat so eagerly. So, Ash, he started, you're challenging the gym tomorrow, right? Ash nodded, a bit hesitant. Yeah. Hopefully, I can pull it off. I mean, I have a solid plan using Caterpie's string shot, but I'm still confused about which one will be my second Pokemon. Pidgeotto or Pikachu. One is a prime target for rock throw, the other is type disadvantage. It wasn't funny. So they were training earlier, but then, you know, accidents happen. Are you planning to teach Pidgeotto Steel Wing and Pikachu Iron Tail? Ash blinked. How did you know? You're not the first trainer with Pikachu whom I met. Smiled Steven. And it was only logical, seeing Steel type is strong against Rock type. Don't forget I saw your Pikachu as a blur of lightning when it broke branches. Never mind the scorch mark on the ground. I don't know what move is that, but I can tell it's going to be a powerful one. Ash and Pikachu beamed. Thank you. Pika Pie. They chorused, but then Ash deflated. But Nurse Joy said Pikachu needs to take things easy. We haven't start with Tail Whip. Why Tail Whip? Because it's going to be base for Iron Tail? I mean, Pikachu can't just learn new move out of blue without TM. And even if using TM, it will take time before he's used to it. At least if Pikachu mastered Tail Whip, it will be easier to use his tail as a weapon. Similarly, Pidgeotto better learns Wing Attack first before trying Steel Wing. Do you want me to teach you? Agron can use Iron Tail, and maybe I can call Skarmory. He knows how to perform Steel Wings. Thanks, but I'll wait until Pikachu and Pidgeotto master the basic form first. A wise choice. Taking things slowly so it would serve them better in the long run. Indeed, a move mastered from a scratch, with a solid base, usually is much more powerful and rewarding than one learned instantly. Muscle memory is both a wonderful and terrifying thing. That's why the veteran Pokemon are much more difficult to beat. Not just because they are powerful, but because they have experience as well, wisdom and knowledge gained from said experiences. If Pikachu and Pidgeotto do learn things from basic form, then Steven had no doubt by the time they learn Iron Tail and Steel Wing respectively, they are going to be a powerhouse. There are many types of trainers, and this is giving Steven an inkling of which type Ash would become. And he likes it. A lot. Because Ash is promising to be a challenge in the future. I'm feeling quite a theme. Muttered Ash. We arrived at Viridian in the evening. We arrived in Pewter in the evening. And now I'm challenging the gym in the evening. Hopefully, it wasn't closed yet. Steven chuckles. Wasn't it you who get carried away in, what was it, last-minute training? He lightly teased. Shut it. Ash's ears were burning. Why you didn't stop me? Can't help it. It was beyond fascinating seeing you train your Pokemon. You're not the only one who swept away. Humph. Ash has a genius idea using a loophole. Last night, he have Pikachu wagging his tail back and forth with some pebbles tied down to the said tail, weighing it down. Pidgeotto who had recovered were made to practice her attack on the poor unsuspecting tree and rocks. By the time Nurse Joy hollered them to get some sleep, the tree had seen better days. The morning started early, with Ash once again set his phone alarm at effing 5 o'clock and start the training half an hour later at the forest near the city. Pikachu and Pidgeotto attacked their respective target with such a force that made Ash chuckles weakly and inching away. Spite, it turns out, is a good motivator. Steven found them at around 8 or 9, following the trail of battered trees, shattered stones, and sticky strings. By then Pikachu and Pidgeot were having a decent grasp on Tail Whip and Wing Attack respectively, with Twister is decently formed. The vortex shape now lasts for 30 seconds before dispersing. Not long enough for Ash's likings, but he takes all he can have. The Gust, which was honed while Pidgeotto trying to form Twister, is strong enough to strip bald a branch, but that's it. Caterpie uses Strong Wind as a challenge. Trying to jump and swing from branches to branches without being blown away, and creating strong and thick strings that can withstand such pressure. They have a short break to catch themselves and think about what should they do next. Ash can't decide which one to send out as the second Pokemon. Pikachu had shown better mastery, and there's that quick attack-like move, but Pidgeotto has more moves under her metaphorical belt, despite having lesser mastery. In the end, they decided on the coin toss. Pikachu picked tail, Pidgeotto picked head. Pikachu won. So Pikachu learns Iron Tail, courtesy by Crash Course from Agron, Aaron's final evolution. A giant, Rhydon-like Pokemon with white exoskeleton armor with black dots, or was it a hole? The first time they saw it, they were startled and intimidated by the sheer size and power. Not to mention the horns. Dear Arceus, the horns. Ash pitied whoever poor soul get horned by Agron. Those horns make Nidokings and Nidoqueens look harmless in comparison. At least Pikachu's determination to learn a new move won out over his fear. By the time the sun sliding to the west, Pikachu got the Iron Tail somewhat working, at cost of stamina. Ash had to run towards the Pokemon Center to ensure his team was in tip-top condition, with no injuries. It was advisable to have belated lunch and wait for some time before challenging gym, so his Pokemon would have the energy for the battle. Hence, why Ash is heading to the gym at 4 in the afternoon with Steven tagging along. They, however, come across a weird man in front of the gym. He has slated, squinty eyes that looks like a line and wearing a hat. Are you two challenging the gym? He asked. He is. Steven placed a hand on Ash's head. I'm just a spectator. The man hummed something as he turned to Ash. How many badges you have? None. This is my first gym battle. Then I suggest you leave. There's no way you can defeat Brock. Wah hey. Take it back. Oi. Don't go. Don't ignore me. Come back here and take it back. Hey. Steven has to restrain Ash and Pikachu before they could hit the man. It was not a hard thing. In fact, Ash is struggling to get out of Steven's vice grip. Calm down, Ash. He just riled you up. The older male said. Don't waste your energy on him. It's not worth it. But he just insults me. He calls me weak. That was a psychological attack. It's not as uncanny as you think. They will look down on you and try to make you feel weak and insignificant. This is used to weed out the weak-willed trainers from trying to enter the league. Remember that league is broadcasted on television and radio channel, they only want the best to put on a show. Trainers who are easily discouraged by simple sneer is not worth mentioning. All gyms does that? I won't say all, but you can expect that from major gyms. After all, they're the 8 main gyms challenge, under the direct supervision of Elite Four. That calmed down Ash, somewhat. Don't get him wrong, he's still mad and feel insulted, but now it is accompanied by a determination to do his best and prove himself. Hence why he slams the gym door open. Excuse me. I'm Ash Ketchum from Pallet Town and I challenge this gym to Pokemon battle. He shouted into the darkness. A spotlight fell upon a teenager across the place. I accept the challenge. He declared with confidence that reminded Ash of Gary. The similarity becomes even more pronounced when the guy takes note of Pikachu perching on his shoulder and seems to do a double take. Are you planning to use Pikachu in the battle? If so, then you can't possibly win. How long have you been a Pokemon trainer? Ash and Pikachu frowned and glowered. Steven may give him a warning, but Arceus DMN at those words made Ash want to punch that guy in the face. A week, give or take. Then your Pokemon is at your cutest stage. Not to mention it's at type disadvantage. Type advantage is not everything, Ash replied sharply, hands clenching. Don't count the egg before they're hatching. Suit yourself then. With a snap, the entire arena suddenly lit up, causing Ash and Pikachu to blink rapidly. Based on Steven's grumble, looks like he too. When they can see again, Ash didn't have much time to ponder when suddenly the garage door on each side of the gym lift open and pushed inside piles of rocks and dirt. What the hell? Good thing Ash isn't that far from the entrance or he might have to run before getting crushed by those. They don't look fake. How on earth did he do it? A warning would be nice please and thank you. Since this is your first gym battle, I'll go easy. This will be a 2 versus 2 battle. You are allowed to switch Pokemon at any given time. Defeat is by knockout or surrender. Sound easy and straightforward. But if the mocking condescension and tidbit of information that Ash gleaned was anything true, then the actual battle is anything but easy. And since Brock is right with Ash starting with non-type advantage, this will be challenging. Ready? Let's go Geodude. Taking a deep breath, Ash takes out a Pokeball from his left pocket. It was a trick he comes up with so he won't use the wrong Pokeball. Right pocket for Pidgey, left pocket for come out, Caterpie. Caterpie manifests with a strong cheer. Caterpie. Brock gawked. A Caterpie. Right. I don't know whether you take my warning as a joke or you're naturally dumb. That Sunopha, well, not my problem. Geodude, roll out. Crush that bug. Caterpie, go with the plan. Show them the fruit of your training. Ash countered, determined to make Brock swallow back his words. The determination was contagious. Caterpie shouted his name as it jumped and stuck to the nearest boulder, avoiding the attack. He proceeds to turn his head and start shooting string shot at Geodude. Mississippi. It hit the floor instead. But he didn't stop. No. He continues to aim at Geodude with a low level of success. The attempt to leave a sticky trail on the ground. When the rock-like Pokemon turned around, Caterpie shot the string at another rock and take a swing there, avoiding being crushed between Geodude and the boulder. A good choice, seeing Geodude hitting the boulder hard it leave a crack there. Now sticking at a taller boulder, Caterpie climbs up and stood on the top, aiming and firing another round of string shot at Geodude. Again, with a low chance of success. Sometimes, the aim was way off the mark, like Caterpie half-butted the aim. Whatever you planned it obviously won't work. Taunted Brock. Ash merely shoots him a grin. I won't be so sure if I were you, Squint Eyes. He shot back, feeling vindictive pleasure when Brock twitched at the nickname. Caterpie. No matter what happened, unless I say otherwise, proceeds with the plan. Caterpie made a cry of affirmative before resuming his work. Aim string shot at Geodude. Even if it didn't hit, it's fine. Just continue. He eats many leaves for dinner last night, breakfast, lunch, and snacks between training. All sorely to ensure he has energy and material for this. It becomes repetitive. Attack, miss, then dodge if Geodude is coming near. Rinse and repeat. Caterpie's tenacity was seriously pissing Geodude off. In the Rock-type mind, Caterpie isn't taking the battle seriously. All the green Pokemon did was making fun and games out of it. Just like that trainer of his. Ash waited and waited, letting the game continue as per plan before he deemed it was enough. The stage has been set. On his term. Alright. Phase 2 Caterpie. With a shout, Caterpie jumped from the rock he was in and landed on a clean spot on the arena. Standing proudly and chirping, as if mocking Geodude. This enraged the rock type. Fool! Barked Brock. Geodude, rock throw. Geodude roared and began picking nearby slabs of rock and tried to throw it. Keyword, tried. The rock barely made 1 meter before it snapped back and hit Geodude in the face, sending it tumbling backward. Geodude! Geodude! The rock Pokemon cried in distress, looking around and find itself trapped around a field of sticky string shots. Not just the ground, but a majority of the rocks were also covered, especially the smaller ones. And boy, they look thick and sticky. This does answer why the rock bounces back like a fossilized giant yo-yo. Worse? When the rock hit Geodude, it was sent backward and now glued to the ground by the sticky substances. I see, Brock muttered mulishly. So that was your plan. No wonder Ash didn't seem agitated when Caterpie's aim was off the mark. The target was never Geodude. Oh wait, it was, but only as a secondary target. His main priority is to cover the ground and limit the clean area. This would make certain moves like rollout, dig, and rock throw become difficult. Possible, but very difficult. And by making Caterpie seems to take it as a joke, which was surefire to PSS off any trainer who take the battle seriously, Ash successfully pulled wool before Brock's eyes, making him and Geodude focused on seemingly playful and ditzy Caterpie while ignoring how the other team had modified the arena to their advantage. It was genius, to be honest. Brock can't help but be impressed. But if you think this is enough, then you're wrong. He shouted. Geodude! Rock polish then rollout. With a warcry, Geodude's body shines in luster before it folded itself into a ball shape and began to wheeling itself. Using the energy and momentum to stretch the strings that covered its body. Ash narrowed his eyes. Caterpie. Swing. Don't let Geodude have the chance to recover, he commanded. Nodding his head, Caterpie moved to just behind Geodude. Close enough but not that close. Then he aimed at a cracked stone, specifically a loose shard, and pull. It was not an easy task, as Caterpie didn't have much strength to pull it off. Took him some struggles before the loose shard come undone and hurling at him. However, with Caterpie standing behind Geodude, the shard hit freshly released Geodude, knocking it square between eyes and send it back to the sticky area. Ash can't help but snicker. This was funny. Comical, even. Alright, Caterpie. Do it again. Pelt Geodude. Nodding, Caterpie does the same move. Attaching a particularly strong string shot to loose rock shard or a non-stuck pebble and pull him towards Geodude. Twack. 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 Being pelted like that set Geodude off, it changed the trajectory of its move. Rather than trying to roll forward, it instead of rolling sideways. Using the movement leeways, Geodude smacked Caterpie and sent him flying and landed roughly. Caterpie. Ash called out, worried. Are you okay? Should he recall him? Maybe he should. Caterpie had done so much trapping Geodude. Enough that Pikachu can deliver the finishing blow without much trouble. Yes. That sounds good. Caterpie, re. His words stuck in his throat when Caterpie's body suddenly glowed brightly. Its shape becomes sharper and leaf-like, with a darker color scheme. The legs and suction practically disappeared. Where Caterpie once lies, now a Metapod stood. You evolved, Ash whispered. His eyes widened. Could it be Metapod wants to finish the battle without switch out with Pikachu? Looking at Metapod's determined eyes, the answer is yes. Hell yes, he gonna finish the battle by himself. Ash smiled. Who was he to deny his Pokemon, especially one who's full of determination? Alright, Metapod. If you can still use String Shot, use it to swing a rock to Geodude. A big one. Metapod. Metapod looks around and finds the nice big rock. Aiming a shot at it, he uses all of his strength to swing the rock in Geodude's direction. Unfortunately, this leaves him without solid footings, and end up pulled along. Alright. Now use Harden. Again and again. At the spectator stand, Steven didn't bother hiding a smirk. He had figured out what Ash's plan is. Rock-type is not immune to Rock-type attack, it's just that they receive lesser damage. But a barrage of attack still chipping away health, combined with the fact Geodude is stuck which made it impossible to dodge, Caterpie Metapod had dealt quite the damage. When the big rock hit Geodude, and shattered, it also deals even more damage. The Rock-type didn't even have the chance to recover and reorient itself when Metapod tackles it. Normally Metapod is the one who suffers more damage, but he had used Harden several times while being pulled along, resulting in a tough cocoon. Tough enough to deal concussion to the poor Geodude. Knocking him out. Metapod is not that far behind, but at least he has some energy left to stand. Steven smirked. This is a genius. Not many would think to use Bug-type against Rock-type. Certainly not one who has limited moveset, lacking in the punch at that, and can't dish out status effect. Speak of status effect, does trapping Geodude in that sticky mess count as paralyze? He should consult the professor. Good thing he has the forethought to record the battle. Back of the arena, Ash joyfully recalled Metapod. You've worked hard. Thank you. I'll give you a treat later. He whispered to the Pokeball. Turning to Brock, who recalled Geodude with the stumped look, Ash can't resist. Wanna continue? I'll kick your second Pokemon's butt as well, right, Pikachu? The mouse Pokemon replied with a chirp. Jumping off Ash's shoulders and taking a position in one of the clean spot. I've underestimated you. That won't happen again. Declared Brock, now sounds completely serious. Go, Onix. Onix. Ba-dum. The Pokemon manifest and causing a slight tremor on the ground. Pikachu's bristle with tail raised high, certainly intimidated. But then he remembers his impromptu teacher and swallows the fear. Right. Onix is big and scary, so do Agron. If he can push away the fear to learn Iron Tail, then by Arceus he can face a giant rock snake. Onix doesn't even have that stupid dangerous horn. Ash Ketchum. You've shown me you have more brain and guts than any rookie trainers I've fought, so I'll repay in kind. Stated Brock. Onix, Earthquake. Give me a big one. Crap. Pikachu. Watch out. Onix jumped, how, and when it landed, bam. An earthquake happens and knocks Ash off his butt. When the smoke dissipates, Ash was relieved and anxious. Relieved that Pikachu was fine. A bit dusty but no sign of injury so far, with his starter perched on a big stone. Anxious because Onyx had just messed the arena. There's big cracks here and there, all heading to, or was it coming from? Onyx's direction. Some part was lower, and some others stood out like a sore thumb. The uneven ground had nullified or at least weakened the effect from the sticky stage. Ash thought. So much for trapping Onyx. Onyx, tackle. The Pokémon positioned itself and began hurling towards Pikachu. Crap. The uneven ground did little to slow him down. Pikachu. Dodge. Miss. The attack was a miss, but it was close call. 1 second too late and Pikachu would have been grazed, if not outright been hit by the attack. At least with Onyx's massive size and heavy weight, it needs some time to stop and turning around, giving Pikachu just enough time to catch his breath before jump to avoid the next attack. Onyx, tackle sideways, followed with wrap. Ash's eyes widened in horror. Oh crap. Pikachu. Run. Use quick attack or agility if you have to. He cried in panic. Pikachu obeys with an equally panicked yelp. Running away from Onyx using all opportunities he can use. Onyx is a giant mass of rock and weight. One hit from it would send Pikachu flying. Wrap would crush him and he can't escape, even if he trained hard in endurance and strength, which he did not. The only way to counter it was to dodge it and make sure to not get hit. At all costs. However, Onyx's big size means he can catch up with no trouble. Knowing this, Pikachu using continuous quick attack to get ahead of the game. It worked, but not much. Ash knew this and it frustrated him. Quick attack is not meant to use for a prolonged time. Not like agility. If he had to compare, quick attack is like sprint or dash, while agility is closer to a marathon. There's that attack. That not quite quick attack. But it's imperfect still and last time Pikachu used it. Onyx is getting closer. Ash bites his lips. There's no other choice. Pikachu. Use that attack. Pika. Pikachu's body is covered with sparks and his speed increased. The sparks formed a yellow aura-like thingy around Pikachu, tinted with light stray electric, while Pikachu becomes a white blur with black outlines. Like stuff you see in old TV before colored pictures were a thing. With the power boost, Pikachu manages to cause a decent gap between him and Onyx. Seeing a giant boulder blocked his path, Pikachu brakes before turn left. The action leaves not just a scorch mark on the ground, but also cause a fire due to the sheer friction. The sudden appearance of fire causes something to happens. Ring 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 SSSSSHHHHH. The sprinkles on the ceiling ringing and switched on. Soaking everyone wet. It was not that bad, more like light rain than anything, yet Onyx suddenly jerked as if it's hurt. Oh right. Water won against rock. Light soak it may be, but it must be enough to weaken Onyx's tough shell somehow. Pikachu. Use that rock to propel yourself upwards. Ash shouted. Then dive to Onyx. Confused at the command, but decided to put faith in Ash's plan, Pikachu does as told. Running towards that slope of rock and using it as a jumping pad. While being in the air, Pikachu folded itself into a ball shape and diving to Onyx while rotating fast. Never once lost the momentum. Onyx. In response, Onyx rose to meet Pikachu head-on. Ash clenched his fist. This is it. He gonna have to bet it all with this one move. He needs the right timing. Wait. 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 Now. Pikachu. Switch to Iron Tail. Iron what now? Just as Brock exclaimed in shock and panic, Pikachu unfurled himself and aiming his glowing tail at Onyx's head, right between eyes, with a loud P-I-K-A-P-I-I. It was as if the time slowed down. K. Pikachu's iron tail collides with Onyx's head. The loud sound echoes in Ash's ears. He can hear his heart pounding fast. A second later, BAM. Onyx fell to the ground. Groaning its name. A small crack can be seen where Pikachu hit it. Pikachu landed across him, breathing fast and shaking with tremor. A static crackling and dancing around his body. Pikachu? Ash called out. Are you alright? He asked hesitantly, noticing the telltale sign of exhaustion. Pikachu. Onyx. Can you stand? Onyx lifts its upper body. Only to fall again mere seconds later. Groaning in pain. Brock sighed in defeat. I see, thank you Onyx. Return. He recalled the Pokemon. Guess it's my loss then. Congratulations, Ash Ketchum. You've won this match. I won. Ash croaked out. We win. He blinked before a smile breaks out on his face. We win. We did it. He cheered up. Umping up and down in joy. We did it Pikachu. We win. Pikachu smiled. Pika. Choo, his body wobbles and his legs gave up. Oh no. Pikachu? Ash yelped in panic. Rushing at the mouse, he scoops him up. Yelped when the static shock him. Hang in there Pikachu. Without even a by your leave, he turning heels and running out of the gym, leaving a trail of dust in his wake. I hope Pikachu is alright, said Steven, putting away the camera. If Pikachu has long-lasting damage, it will be a Pyrrhic victory for Ash. One that he would blame himself for. Steven didn't know Ash for long, but he does know Ash loves Pokemon greatly. And considering back when they first meet, Ash's first question is asking about his Pikachu. It's not that hard to figure out. Don't worry. Nurse Joy is very skilled at their job, replied Bach. That being said, I better go now. He is forgetting something. Indeed. Steven nodded. Also, did you make your folk do the hazing talk in front of the gym? No. Brock blinked. Not like Steven can see it. My siblings were at home today. Your father or uncle then? Don't have an uncle, and my father was gone for years. Now it's Steven's turn to get confused. Then who was it? He looks like you. Maybe a grown-up version of you with wild facial hair, but you two look similar enough you must be related. Brock suddenly twitched. I see. X. Ash sighed and slumped on his seat. Nurse Joy had chewed Ash for making Pikachu exhaust himself so much, Ash can feel his ears burning. The old sayings, don't anger the medic and the kindest people are scariest when angered, were true. He wished he didn't learn it firsthand. Pika. Pikachu headbutt him lightly. Ash forces a smile out. Sorry for earlier, Pikachu, he said. I should have not told you to use that. That technique is imperfect still. I should have predicted Brock won't fall for the trap twice. Kinda dumb, now that I think of it. Ow. Pikachu tail slapped him. Hey, what's that for? For being a downer? Steven piped up from above him. When did he get there? How come he didn't hear them coming? For being dumb and self-blaming? It's irrational to blame yourself when Pikachu agrees to it. Pokemon has a mind of their own, so when they follow your command, it means they trust you and willing to accept any outcome of it. But I don't. I mean, it was pure luck Pikachu won. If the sprinklers didn't set off, Onix won't get weakened just enough. It was just pure luck on Ash's part. If you mean the sprinkler, then, well, yes, but you still managed to win. You command Pikachu using Iron Tail at the right moment, after making sure he would have enough force to boost it up. Take credit where it's due. Pikachu nodded at that. Speak of credit. Here. Ash stared at the badge in Steven's hand. Brock wants me to pass it on to you. Saying you clearly deserve it for your performance. Explained Steven. He would like to do it himself, but he said he has an urgent family matter to take care of. Well, no. His exact words were he had some deadbeat a-hole to beat up, but Steven can read between lines. Turns out you don't have to be a conglomerate to have family drama. Sitting in the middle of Route 3 is Mount Moon, a massive mountain and home for various flora and Pokemon. One can see it miles away, and when coming up and close. Massive is an understatement. There's a two-way to reach Cerulean City from Pewter. First, the traditional route using the age-old natural-made tunnel underneath the mountain. Second, taking the long, recently made years ago, the road around the mountain. Additionally, you also can head straight to Saffron through small towns and villages. Most trainers, the ones who first set out on their journey, and wishing to take the league, however, prefer taking the tunnels. It has been an age-old rite of passage. An unofficial saying that if a trainer didn't take the tunnel route at least once, they aren't considered good enough. They don't have to like or enjoy it, they just have to pass it. Trying to climb up the mountain? Don't be stupid. Only ace trainers, high-ranked Pokemon Ranger, and Elite themselves can climb the mountain and make it down safely. The dangerous terrain aside, the Pokemon above there are vicious. If the Spearow in Route 1 was bad, the flocks that live up on the mountain is even worse. The tunnels is no less adventurous. Yes, it has less danger, but it was more confusing, trying to navigate the maze-like tunnels. Since one can't see the sky, the compass is a very valuable piece of equipment, alongside a reliable map. Another must-have item was a flashlight. Regarding of Pokemons who living there are colonies of Zubat, Sandshrew, Paras, Geodude, Onix, and finally, the prize of MT Moon local Pokemon, Clefairy line. Clefairy is rare and only a few ever see it, much less have it. Ash hoped Gary didn't manage to catch one, or he would be insufferable. Speaking of insufferable. Pikachu. Thunderwave. Chew. The colonies of Zubat fell to the ground. Twitching pitifully. They are not the only ones. What the hell? Cursed Ash. What are Zubats doing, going out when the sun is still out? It's 2 p.m. for Molter's Burning Tail. According to the book, Zubat lived in caves and comes out at night due to their sensitive eyes would burn when showered with bright light. There is a reason why they generally attacked anyone that dare to shoot a flashlight in their direction. Any trainer who passed MT Moon Tunnel had one universal advice: Don't aim your flashlight to the ceilings unless you fancied being chased by colonies of Zubat. People who catch Zubat are advised to train their Pokemon to get used to bright light. Starting from dawn dusk, then under shades, etc., until the Pokemon can withstand daylight without being in pain. To find they were attacked by Zubats before they even enter the tunnel, in broad daylight, was more than confusing. Still, he better put them under shades before the sun fried them good. A nocturnal Pokemon goes out during daylight? Muttered Steven. His eyes narrowed. Ash, stay close to me. Huh? Okay, but why? Steven didn't answer. He just leads the way in. The inside of the tunnel made Ash appalled. The empty moon tunnel did have some lights to mark the way, but they are generally dim-lit, barely just enough to see the road, hence why flashlight is needed. This is to not disturb the local population who are not used to bright light. However, when they ventured inside, the walls are lined up with a bright lamp. It certainly has an adverse effect on the local Pokemon, if the condition of Paras, Zubats, and Sandshrews they encountered was any indicator. The Geodudes look fine, but they are irritable. Ash has Pikachu short-circuited those lamps. They were plunged into the darkness, but it's fine. They have a flashlight. As I feared. Spoke Steven. Without changing his expression, he opens up a Pokeball. His trusted partner, Metagross, materialized. Gaze as sharp and wary as its trainer. There's something wrong here. I figures. Replied Ash, voice dripping with sarcasm. Whoever set up those lights are going to be in big trouble. And there's no other human beside us. Steven ignores the sass. You did say MT Moon is route all trainer take, but where are they? And you can't use the "it's still months away from League" reason. We did pass some trainers on our way here. We should have been encounter some more by now, yet there's no other human in sight. That's not even accounting field scientists and researchers. Ash paused at that. Steven was right. Something is odd here. MT Moon isn't supposed to be this empty. Add with the bright lights and Zubat's odd behavior. Does someone do illegal digging here? He shouted. Before Steven could answer that, the ground shakes. Violently. The culprit revealed itself not too long after. Several boulders that stuck together rise. It was when a pair of angry eyes opened. No, it was not boulders. It was an onyx. An angry onyx. It was bigger than Brock's. Clearly, a survivor, if the amount of scarring and uneven rough surface on its body was any indicator. Steven. Ash whispered. Eyes still glued at the massive Pokemon. Any clue why it's angry? My guess is it's been trying to sleep in but get increasingly angry because the light been bothering it. Your yell might be the final straw in the back. Oh, so now it's my fault? Their banter was cut short when Onyx roared in anger and began shaking. The tunnel also shakes and several rocks and stalagmites fell down. It didn't scare Steven a bit. With a calm and controlled voice, he commands out, Metagross, bullet punch, chain it with hammer arm. His trusted partner rumbles in affirmation before moving fast, destroying the biggest and sharpest stalagmite that heading to them, before destroying the rest. Ensuring none but dust and small pebbles that fell upon them. Psychic. Metagross glowing pink as it faced Onyx, who also glowed pink and lifted several feet above the ground. It tried to wiggle and squirmed, trying to break free, but to no avail. Metagross is much more powerful and skilled than mere cave dwellers. Metagross, Steven was about to order him to throw away the Onyx, but stopped. They were inside a tunnel. Throwing several dozen kilos of Pokemon would cause turbulence that may lead to unwanted complications. Mini earthquake aside, it could accidentally crush smaller Pokemon. Sandshrew and Geodude might survive the impact, but Paras would be flattened in seconds. Not to mention it would serve as an alarm. Throwing Onyx is not worth it. Not when they are still speculating what happened here. But putting Onyx down would just only lead it to attack them again. Dang. Metagross can't use Hypnosis and he doesn't have any Pokemon who could. If Metapod had evolved into Butterfree then he might ask for his help, but since the Pokemon's still a cocoon. How should he solve this predicament? Well, Steven did want an Onyx. However, the ball refused to capture it. Oh? You're captured? Steven frowned. But that means... He paused in horror. Steven? That means... Someone deliberately attacking them. Metagross. Metagross glowed brighter for the briefest moment, before turning to a direction and threw Onyx there. Several people quickly run away to avoid getting crushed, revealing themselves. Men. Wearing a black bodysuit with dark gray gloves and boots. A single big R emblazoned on the top of the suit. R? For Wa. Team Rocket? Shouted Ash. Steven's eyes narrowed. So this is the terrorist who dares to attack Pokemon Center? The ones who stealing Pokemon? If they are not the ones behind the strangeness here, Steven will eat his left shoe. F you, pretty boy. One of them cursed out and Steven snorted. Pretty boy? How long since the last time he had been called that? You gonna pay for that? The grunts, and they must be grunts because Steven had once dealing with terrorists before and he knew higher-ups have more class and presence throughout their Pokemon. A purple rat, a bigger angrier rat with brown fur, a gas bomb V.2, a purple snake that reminded Steven of Seviper except for no sword tail, a drooling stinky plant, a ferocious-looking bird, 2 Zubat, and 1 yellow Pokemon who carried a pendulum. Looking at it makes Steven drowsy for a brief second before he could reorient himself. Psychic type then. In response, Ash eagerly calls out his Pikachu, growling and sparking with anger, Pidgeotto flapping wings and screeching, especially at the other bird, and Metapod glaring? Quite a jarring sight. Pikachu, Thundershock. Bloom, Stun Spore. Rattata, Quick Attack. Ratica, Hyper Fang. Coughing, Assurance. Zubat, Poison Fang. Spearow, Drill Peck that overgrown bird. Ekans, Bite. Drowsy, Hypnosis. Wheezing, Sludge Bomb. Zubat, Astonish. Onix, Get back here and attack. Metagross. Scary Face followed with Takedown to that pendulum-carrying Pokemon. First order in business, knock out the Psychic type before they immobilize you via Hypnosis. As for the rest, Aggron, Iron Head and Heavy Slam to Onix. Skarmory, Agility, and Metal Claw. Take out as many as you could without hurting Pidgeotto, Pikachu, or Metapod. He calls forth his other heavy hitter, who wastes no time before attacking. Among his current rooster, only Metagross and Aggron are strong enough to take Onix with little to no damage, and Steven needs Metagross to take care of that pendulum Pokemon. What was it called? He'll ask Ash later simply because being part psychic means he has some resistance to psychic type attack. Aggron, not so much. The tunnel was cramped with attack and Pokemon. Thankfully Ash did the smart thing by ordering Pidgeotto to blow back Stun Spore before it could affect their side. This followed by Metagross threw the rocket psychic type to that plant Pokemon, which would prevent them from using devastating status effect. Pikachu nimbly gets between the massive limbs and attacks before tackling the other bigger brown mouse Pokemon with a static-covered body, shocking them good, before sending a Thundershock to Zubat. Skarmory finished the Seviper wannabe with a well-placed Metal Claw. Metapod is having a hard time with the purple mouse. Wait, did it just evolved? That was fast. Still, it was a boon on their side. The Beautifly-like Pokemon helped to finish the battle. Or, more like the one-sided beatdown. Then the bomb bag pulsates as if about to explode. Metagross quickly throws them away. Kaboom! Close call. If those two explodes here, not only the table will get turned, but there's a chance he and Ash will get separated, or worse, buried. In retaliation for that dirty tactic, Pikachu uses Thundershock on them. By them, Steven means the grunts, not the Pokemon. The Paralyze give chance for Steven to tie them up. Alright. He clapped his hand. We can do this the easy way or the hard way. Frankly, I prefer the easy way, less messy, and relatively painless. And less traumatic for Ash. He got a face full of dust when one of the grunts kicked the ground. Before Ash could do more than take a step forward with fist raised, Butterfree had done something. The wings sparkled and the eyes glowed, and suddenly the grunt becomes dazed. Metagross? Steven asked. Confusion. His partner replied through telepathy. Fabricating. Reality. False information. Newbie. Does not last long. Aha. Smart boy. Looks like you could use some help. Said Steven. We're here to pick up your slack. How far the project go? He covered Ash's mouth before the boy could say something that might break the psychic effect. Project Moon is underway. We haven't found the Moonstone, but it seems we are making progress. One of the grunts, the female one, replied in a daze. Executive Petrel getting angry. The professor is not cooperating and many trainers stumbled upon our ground. Thankfully we managed to catch them off guard and steal their Pokemon. Lead the way. X. They were hiding behind a large rock, watching how the operative's doing. Thankfully with the well-lit room, it's easy to see the whole area. Discounting the unconscious ones they've been dealt, there are 7 rocket grunts. Wait, no, make them 6 grunts and 1 executive. Executive Petrel if Steven remembers it correctly. 4 grunts were on guard duty. 2 were guarding a cage where local Pokemon were caught, and 2 more, this time with their Pokemon out. One is the evolution of that purple snake Arbok, according to Ash's Pokédex, and the other is a menacing black canine with white stripes and a pair of curved horns. Steven observed the captives and what he saw made his blood run cold. The Pokemons were in bad conditions. They were trembling, either in anger or fear, and they certainly don't look healthy. Especially that green Sandshrew that stood out. Not just because of its unusual coloring shiny but because the other sand shrew avoided it. That kinda brought back some less than pleasant memories. Shaking his head, Steven focused on human captives. He saw Misty among them. Aside from her, an adult man was wearing a lab coat and looks like he has seen better days, a brunette boy with a cap, a dark-haired girl in a flannel shirt, and a young adult with a black eye must be getting into a fight with one of the grunts. As of Team Rocket's Pokemon. Mum. And the cage. There's a cable leading to the Pokemon's cages. Ah. The cages were saturated with electricity. Alright. Ash, I have a job for you, the boy jolted with attention. Normally I don't like involving a rookie trainer in terrorist capture mission, nor I make habit of it. But you are the only one I can rely on, so you will listen to what I said and follow it correctly, understand? Yes sir. Good. Steven nodded. Your job is to free those people and Pokemons. Be careful. The Pokemon's cages are saturated with electricity. Have Pikachu dealt with it? Keep your distance and don't look threatening or they will mistake you for the bad guy. Once you are done, set them free. I want you to find the missing Pokeballs if any. Here. Steven handed him a Pokeball. I entrust Beldum to you. He is yours to command for this mission. Ash stared at the Pokeball and gulped. I understand. He held it tight. What? What about you? Me? Steven turned his attention to the grunts. I'll become bait. Be bait? Someone needs to draw their attention so you can go unnoticed. There are more grunts and one executive. All of them are adults. Who certainly have loose morals. No way he subjected Ash to them even without the threat of having Lance and whomever Ash's parents go after his blood. Having him freeing the captive was a much safer option. Don't worry. I'll be alright. Alright. Good. Now, wait until my signal. X. Steven walked out from their hiding place, putting up a surprised facade. Oh dear me. What is happening here? He asks loudly, being as obnoxious as possible. It works. All attentions now are on him. Hey, what are you doing here? This place is off limits. One grunt shouted. What the F, those guards are doing? Probably slacking off. Another one replied. You make mistake. Seriously, how dumb someone can be. If you cooperate, we will let you off the hook. If not then you can join them. One jerked his head on the cage. Steven's heart almost leaps off. Ash isn't get caught, is he? Now, give us your Pokeballs. Surrounded by all sides, Steven sighed dramatically. Very well. He took out 4 Pokeball. 2 of each hand. He saw those grunts smirking as if they have won, yet the executives still look at him appraisingly. Is that all you have? Well, Steven smiled. In one smooth motion, he threw up the Pokeball and released the Pokemon. His battle-ready Pokemon. Aggron, Scyther, Metagross, Skarmory, go wild. Screech and roar and pandemonium ensues. Sheet. One nearby grunt fumbles around his belt. Go. Steven didn't let him finish. He quickly swept him down with a tackle to the leg, breaking his concentration and causing the Pokeball to roll away. To make sure he didn't get up, Steven shocks him with a taser. He never goes anywhere without a taser nowadays. It was simply too useful, especially in a situation like this. He hears sounds of more Pokemon manifesting, followed by a roar, screech, grunt, and other sounds of battle. A quick glance at the battlefield shows that there are many Pokemon surrounding them. Metagross, Magnet Rise, follow it by Confusion and then Meteor Mash. Skarmory, Fury Attack Metal Claw Combo. Scyther, Leer, Double Team, and Fury Cutter. Aggron, Iron Defense, Heavy Slam, and finish with Iron Tail. The Pokemon hit by Confusion staggered in their movement, allowing Metagross to punch them away. Screech and several poor Pokemon were ripped into shreds. Metaphorically. Steven didn't order them to use lethal mode. Slash. Those that Skarmory missed were hit by Scyther. Aggron finished the last batch with a battering ram, turning around, and hit the Pokemon with his tail. Not just shouting command, Steven quickly move. Nimbly and agile, dodging the punch aimed at him. Crossing his hand before his face and block one kick, then twisted the leg. Slamming the grunt to the floor and broke his leg. Shock. Pooh! One punch nearly collides with his cheek, had he didn't tilt his head to the side on time. He responded by grabbing the hand and kicking the guy in the crotch, giving him the worst pain a man ever felt on top of dislocating his shoulder. Tossing him. Turning around he kicked another grunt, disarmed him, followed with an uppercut punch. Another jumped on him and restrained him from the back. Steven responded by bowing and flipping him over and twisted the shoulders. He may not look like it but he is very fit. One touch with a taser and he's out cold. Bang! Bang! A bullet was fired. It didn't hit him as Metagross teleported before Steven, tanking the attack with his body, not even gaining a small dent. You are not a normal trainer, aren't you? You are way too strong for that. A G-Man? Or Pokemon Ranger, perhaps? Steven didn't reply. Busy glaring hole into the executive's head. Let's make a deal here. The executive replied, twirling his gun. You will surrender and hand over your Pokemon. If I refuse? And if you refuse, well, the executive smirked coldly, then I guess you didn't care about your little friend over here? Steven froze, before cursing in his mind. Sheet. He forgot one last grunt. No wonder he's missing one. That one sneak and captured Ash. F-. Where is his Pokemon? He didn't see Pikachu, Butterfree, Pidgeotto, or Beldum anywhere. Don't tell me they were beaten? That snarling hound. Is that Bite? F-. A dark type? No wonder Beldum can't do a thing. Now, what is your answer? Houndoom's bite is painful, you know. DMN it. Master. No. Metagross? Pikachu. Is up. Wait. Steven searched for the little yellow rodent. Ah. There is it. Behind Ash and that Dmed grunt. Crawling carefully to not be noticed. Their eyes meet and Pikachu gives a small nod. Good boy. He now needs to stall time. What's your guarantee you won't just finish us once I handed over my Pokemon? He asks out loud. Executive Petrol grins. It was a nasty grin. You don't. You are not in a position to bartering. He moves past Metagross and yanks Steven by the collar. Should have done so before you attack. Steven glared. What do you say? There are not many options you have. His eyes briefly flickered to Pikachu. He now was close. Steven closed his eyes. Ash, I'm so sorry about this. I'll make it up later, okay? Steven. What are you? Thundershock. Screams echoes as Pikachu shock both the dark type, the grunt, and Ash. The sudden attack startled the executive. Steven didn't waste his chance. He hit him with the taser, right between the eyes. Steven glared hatefully at the fallen terrorist. I, he stated, will never, ever, work with a terrorist. Metagross. Subdue him. Make sure he can't do anything. With that, he runs over to Ash. Checking him over and ignoring the pain when static touched his skin. Don't mind me. Ash groaned, sitting up. This not the first time Pikachu shocked me. Worry about others. Nodding, Steven pulled out his phone and dialed a number. Lance. We've run into the terrorist in MT Moon Tunnel. The terrorist was subdued. No one died, but some required medical help. Bring the best medical team you can assemble, your best squad, a containment for terrorists. And at least one ranger. Meet us at the tunnel entrance leading to Pewter City. Be fast. Ash waited in the lobby. Pacing back and forth. The assistant medic who passed by shot him an exasperated look. Did he bother them? No. He was doing his own business, which is waiting. It's not his fault, Kay? He's getting antsy. He was alone here, after the men in uniform done asking him questions. Steven isn't though, he was still detained in the office they borrowed from Nurse Joy, but he told Ash to wait in the lobby. Things happen so fast, he gets whiplash. What is supposed to be easy going trekking through the tunnel, and maybe get lost along the way, suddenly become a rescue mission straight from a movie. And the Team Rocket they face this time. They are strong. And dangerous. More than those trio he encounters at Viridian. Even with Steven diverting all attention, Ash still got caught up by one grunt with that blasted Houndoom of his. That Pokemon took out Pidgeotto and Butterfree like it was nothing and knocked Pikachu out. Or maybe not. Pikachu was fine. He must be pretending to be fainted and planning a surprise attack. At least Ash managed to unlock the cage bar and free the hostages, but only some. He was just done unlocking the Sandshrew cage when he was ambushed from behind, startling the Pokemon into running away. Except for this pretty one who took the brunt for him, which buy Ash enough time to command his Pokemon. Even if it was futile. Note to self, teach his Pokemon a lesson in dodging. Powerful attack is useless if it didn't connect. At least Ash managed to shield the ground type into safety before the grunt subdues him. Still, that shiny Sandshrew was badly injured, but the medic should be able to help. Hopefully. There are so many Pokemon who need medical attention. Something cold pressed to his neck. Hi-ee. Ash jumped in surprise, tripped over his leg, and fell over like an idiot. Ouchie. That's hurt. That hurt more than when Pikachu shocks him. Pika. And Pikachu landed on his face, kicking his mouth and nose before jumped off to his shoulder. Messing with Ash's hat in the process. Once Ash lifted the hat, he shot a glare at Brock. The gym leader didn't look guilty. Much. In fact, he was chuckling. On one hand, he was carrying a cold soda can, and on other hand, a tray contains Pokeballs. Your Pokeballs. He said, handing over the tray. And here, free drink. Thanks. Ash accepts them. The static when Pikachu ribbed against his head was a welcome feeling. Comfortable, even, but it was not. HHH. He sighed for the nth time today. Don't worry. They'll be fine. Huh? Those Pokemon are in good hands. Continue Brock. Nurse Joy knows what she does. She's used to taking care of a large number of Pokemon at the same time. Plus, she was helped by G-Man Nurse Joy and the Viridian City Nurse Joy arrived half an hour ago. The Pokemon Rangers are doing their best to help to make temporary shelter until the MT Moon is deemed safe. Those Pokemons will be fine soon. You can rest assured. Ash blinked. Are you psychic? Brock grinned. Nope. You just easy to read. He replied. Though, really, you don't have anything to worry about. Your friend? He'll be fine. He just needs to answer some questions. Yeah. Hopefully. Probably. Lance was there. He and Steven are good friends, aren't they? Steven will be fine. Doesn't stop Ash from feeling like a deadweight. Steven tasked him with one thing, one important thing, trust him to do it, and Ash failed. It was very fortunate that the grunt focused on him and not the Pokemon. He could have ordered that Houndoom attack Ash's Pokemon or others, but choose not to. Imagine if he had. That would be even worse. It was truly fortunate he didn't. You know, Brock spoke up. What do you know about grooming? Isn't that the same as bathing? Ash asks dryly. Why is he suddenly talk about grooming? No, I mean Pokemon grooming. It is like art of taking care of Pokemon. Pokemon can groom themselves, but I think it's better if as their trainers, we help them in it. After all, theirs might be a spot they can't reach by themselves. Ash didn't know such a thing exist. That was not what he learned in the class. He thought taking care of Pokemon only just feeding them and making sure they get treatment. After all, Pokemon has a mind of its own. If they feel dirty they would clean themselves, right? Does all trainers do it? Well, no. Mostly, it was breeders who do that. But what's wrong with grooming your Pokemon? It also counts as a bonding activity. The only downside was it took time, so it requires patience. Lots and lots of patience. Ash nodded and contemplating. He isn't the most patient person. He can't sit still unless he's doing something. If he has nothing to occupy time, he will get restless. But isn't that what he's doing? Doing nothing and ended up annoying passerby? Right. So you're going to teach me? I'd like to. But since my kid is rather limited, so I can only give you pointers. Is it just Ash or was it longing in Brock's voice? Let's see. Pokemon comes in various sizes and kind. There's those whose body covered in fur, feather, scales, or has a hard body or being a slime. Each has a different method to take care of. You can't treat your Metapod. Butterfree. Ash cut in. He evolves back in MT Moon. Right? As I said, you can't treat Butterfree the same way you treat Pikachu. For one, Pikachu has fur while Butterfree doesn't. You can brush Pikachu's fur, but definitely, you can't brush Butterfree. That just doesn't happen. Ash nodded along. Yeah. That was common sense. Also, you can't use just whatever kind of brush. Since Pikachu has short smooth hair, I recommend a bristle brush. That works best, I think. As for Caterpie, well, I think you can start with wiping the body carefully with a wet towel. Don't worry about scales since the wing scales are waterproof, though be mindful as inhaling them can cause status effects such as paralysis. As for your third Pokemon. What is it? A Pidgeotto. Then you can use a towel, but be careful with the feathers, you don't want to accidentally pluck them off. That was a quick way to learn Drill Peck. With you as the target. Also, you may look out for the claws. I don't recommend you try and trim the claw. Trimming the claw could lead to sharpening it as well as shaving off unnecessary parts, which would help in the long run, but if and only if done right. If done wrong, you might cut into the blood vessel, which was bad. Injury aside, your Pokemon would be furious. Pidgeotto is no Spearow or Ho-Oh for Bidafiro, but their anger is still fearsome to witness. Leave claw trimming to professionals and stuck with cleaning the claw. Keep sharp things away from Pidgeotto's claw. Got it. You might also want to look at their diet. Each Pokemon requires different calories. Some need it small, some need it massive. Example, Snorlax. Ash nodded. Snorlax is big and heavy. Poke food you can buy in stores are fine, but it might be best to slip in berries once in a while. Every Pokemon has preferences. Some like it sour, spicy, sweet, dry, or bitter. Make sure you check what their preferences are. Ash hummed. How about honey for Butterfree? Wild Butterfree is known for drinking honey from the flower or tree sap. Giving Butterfree honey would be a welcome treat. Ketchup? Brock raised an eyebrow. What about ketchup? Ash pointed at Pikachu. This one once drank an entire bottle of ketchup by himself. He said. Brock stares. That I don't know. He admitted. Some Pokemon requires unusual material like food. For example, my Geodude and Onix sometimes like to chow rocks to grow stronger and bigger. But this is the first time I heard a Pikachu drank ketchup. You might ask Professor or expert in Pokemon. Or maybe Lieutenant Surge could tell you. He's electric specialist. Assuming Ash passed the test. Though since ketchup is sour, Pikachu must have a preference for sour food. Pikachu let out a cheerful Pika in confirmation. Gotcha, Ash thought, time to crack the book about berries. Maybe he could learn about their taste. Speak of learning, you know a lot. Thanks. Brock smiled. I've always wanted to be a breeder. Breeder? Ash has an imaginary spot of Brock being a matchmaker to Pokemon. It's up and including setting up a date, tailing on said date to make sure it goes smoothly, keeping jealous other mons away, making the nest, and so on. Maybe taking care of the eggs, too. Well, he can see why grooming is important. His mom always nagging him to get a bath and change his underwear. So embarrassing. If you want to be a breeder, then why you're a gym leader? That come out harsher than Ash intended. You I mean, don't you? Well. Nah, it's okay. I get it. Really? Really? He's not just saying things for sake of saying it, right? Truth to be honest. Well, I don't really want to be a gym leader. It was my younger brother, Forrest, who's passionate about the stuff, not me. It was supposed to be him who took over the gym after our father retired. Then why did he? But suddenly my parents went out to, and I quote, to become better trainer. Forrest was only 8, too young to take over the job, and he hasn't learned more than basic, so. Yeah. I took care over the gym in meantime. That's deep. Like, real deep. Sorry. Ash winces. For the reminder. Ash always wanted to be a trainer, to explore the world and create the ultimate team. If, by a chance, he can't become a trainer but took another job that is Pokemon related, like become Professor Oak's assistant. Sure, he can interact with Pokemon, but it just not the same. Won't be the same. Oh, have no worry. My useless good-for-nothing old man had returned. Do you know he's been actually lurking around? What? Thanks to your friend, I finally catch him. Saying sorry and sappy promise and all that stuff. Congrats. What else could he say? Does it mean you can become breeder? Brock shook his head. Nah. Even if my old man gets home, I can't. I don't trust him. Sure, he might be a good gym leader. Might, I tell you. But raising my siblings when I'm gone? Not happening. Gotta make sure he can cook without burning down the house, laundry without ripping the clothes, etc. Got it. But if you got the chance, you would go? Yeah. Go and explore. Maybe learn about Pokemon medical care along the way. After 2 days of quarantine in Pewter City, the captured Pokemon were deemed fit to be released back to the wilderness. To ensure nothing bad happened, Lance led a group consist some of the G-men and Rangers scouring the tunnel to ensure there's no nasty surprise left behind. Once the tunnels are deemed safe, the Pokemon are released. Bigger Pokemon such as Onix and Graveler goes first, then smaller Pokemon such as Geodude, Sandshrew, Sandslash, Paras, Parasect, Zubats, and Clefairy. The tunnel was operating again that evening, few hours after the Pokemon were released back to the wilderness. Steven notices Ash looking around the tunnel. What are you looking for? He can't help but ask. Well. Ash scratches his cheek. Hoping the Pokemon are fine. Admirable. Praised Steven, then his voice turned to tease. But watch out where you're going. Don't want to upset Zubats so soon, aren't we? At the mention of Zubats, Pikachu jumped from Ash's shoulder to Steven's. Of course I know that. Huffed Ash. I'm not that stupid. Whoa there. Easy. Lance caught Ash before the boy could hit the ground. You're not stupid, alright, but you definitely are clumsy. Keeping eyes up is fine. But watch where you're stepping, too. The lights are dim here. Look, you upset this guy. He pointed at the Geodude who glaring at Ash, cursing something in Pokespeak, and shaking its fit in anger before rolling away. Shut up. Ash shouted, cheeks burning with embarrassment. What are you doing here, anyway? Lance shrugged. Room for one more? He replied. More asking than answering. Ash gawked. You want to join? Am I not allowed? I'm hurt. Seeing Ash stuttering, Lance grinned. Just kidding. I'm sticking around, though. It has been years since I got a chance to stretch my legs. Well, I don't mind, trailed Ash off. How about you, Steven? No answer. Steven? Hello? You're with us? Steven shook up from his stupor. You. He pointed at Lance. What are you wearing? It was not an unfounded question, seeing that Lance already changed out from his usual get-up. Gone was his usual tight leather suit with a cape. He was wearing a casual white shirt and jeans cargo pants under a black trench coat with pair of brown boots. A belt with pokeball slots wrapped nicely around his waist, and a backpack slung across his shoulder. Hell, his hair even down, flat against his head and nearly covering his right eyes. I don't want to be recognized. Paparazzi are scary and annoying. Lance huffed, crossing his arms. Shouldn't you know about it? You don't wear a cape. No. It doesn't go with the rest of the outfit. You. Don't wear a cape. You. Lance threw up his hands. Is that too hard to accept? Yes. Deadpan Steven. Very much. Because Lance is associated with dragon and cape. Seeing Lance without a cape is. Error. Error. Does not compute. Oh come on. I have other outfits. I can wear whatever I DMN pleased. He knew he loves capes, but it wasn't like he collects capes and wears them on every single occasion. He only wears a cape on his duty as champion, on the non-undercover mission, and when he's in the safety of his home. It was not his fault that most of his outfits go well with a cape, okay? Uh-huh. Lance scowled. You don't believe me, do you? Who would? Ack. You incorrigible. Ash just sweat drops at the banters between friends. Wow. Was this how Steven felt when he and Misty bickerings back at Viridian Forest? This. Ash doesn't know whether he wants to cover his ears, shout at them to shut up, whack them upside the head. Wait, no, he had to jump first. DMN height difference. Or maybe he could just walk away. Just then, he felt something tugged at his pants. Looking down he found a sandshrew. It is that green sandshrew. The one who saved him once. Curious, Ash crouching down. Hi there. Are you lost? The sandshrew shook its head. No? Right. You lived here. So what do you want? Oh, wait. Do they bother you? Ash pointed at Steven and Lance who, as expected, still bickering and ignore everything else. Their voice was at normal levels, but since they were at tunnel. Yeah. Surprised that no locals haven't come and make them shut up just yet. He remembers that one time local bug in Viridian threw berries at him and Misty for being nosy. It was when they got lost after running from Beedrill. The sandshrew just shook its head again. No? Then what do you want? In response, Sandshrew climbs on Ash and unzipped the bag. Hey. Ignoring the human sputtering, Sandshrew dropped into the bag. That made Ash take off the bag, worried about what Sandshrew might do with its content. Hey, none of that. He lifts the Sandshrew and put it down. What are you doing? The Pokemon scratched its head and focused on another part of the bag. This time, it was the compartment where Ash stored his spare empty Pokeballs. Hey wait, that was. Too late. The Sandshrew already pressed the white button to enlarge a Pokeball and with another tap, it gets SCKED in. The Pokeball only shakes once before goes completely still, signaling its success capture. Ash just stared. Did that just happens? The three of them stare at the bridge before them. The old, rickety bridge with the ropes looks like been used as a chew toy for local wild Pokemon. Lance. You really need to do some maintenance to Kanto infrastructures. Stated Steven. This bridge won't hold up an Aaron, let alone us. Do you want accidents to happen? For your information, this isn't the bridge en route to Cerulean. This one is too old and too narrow. We are on a different route altogether. Are you saying? Yep. The redhead nodded, his expression completely flat. We're lost. Totally lost. Definitely taking the wrong turn back at MT Moon. Are you kidding me? Steven asked. If it was me, fine, I'm not native so it's normal if I get us lost, but you? Seriously? This is your region. You're the one with the map. Shouldn't you know the route? Excuse me, I did say a week ago that this was my first time stretching my legs, and by that I mean it. It has been years since last time I actually trekking my way around the region instead of using train or flying on Dragonite. Reply Lance irate. And for the record, I am no cave dwellers. It was you. And wasn't it you who venture away when you see excavation site 2, and I quote, see what they dig up there? It wasn't like you can't just drag me away. You can mark our location on the map, right? I knew I should have left you there. Well, you. Cryeteeked. The argument abruptly stopped when they heard the rickety bridge squeaked. Looking at it, their face turned pale in horror. Ash! What are you doing? Ash looked back. Crossing the bridge and hoped there's civilization on another end. He replied. If we don't move we won't know. I mean, the bridge is man-made, so there must be a settlement nearby, right? Steven and Lance look at each other and nod. They yanked Ash back to them, out from the bridge. Thankfully Ash isn't too far and still within their reach if they bend forward. Hop on, Lance called out Dragonite, at the same time as Lance called Skarmory. You ain't taking another step into that safety hazard. It will be faster if we fly, after all, added Steven. Ash didn't have any reason to refuse. Plus, it's cool. He got to ride a Dragonite. A Dragonite. A totally cool dragon-type Pokemon. The rarest Pokemon in Kanto and Johto. How cool is that? Gary is so going green with envy if he knew. SCK that Gare Bear. He had to stifle a squeal when Lance lifted him and helped him get comfortable on Dragonite's back. But the sensation riding a Dragonite won, and he can't help but patting Dragonite's smooth scales. You can pat him later. Lance suddenly grabbed his hands and held them in place. Ash noticed that Lance was pressing down their hands while holding on to Dragonite. We're going to take flight. If you don't hold on, you gonna slip and fell. Alright. Ash almost forgot. He gotta hold tightly. But it kinda hard, you know? Dragonite's scales are so smooth, it's hard to get a firm grasp on it. It was amazing for Lance to know where to hold. Ready? Then, here we go. Whoa! Ash briefly closed his eyes when suddenly they went airborne. The wind was hitting Ash in the face and make him glad Pikachu perched on top of his head, otherwise his hat would have been blown off. The shaking and sensation as Dragonite flapping its wings and send the back muscle moving was kinda scary, which made Ash unconsciously lean forward. When the shaking becomes less scary, Ash tentatively opens his eyes. A gasp escaped his mouth. Amazing, isn't it? Ash could only nod. The scenery from above is beautiful. He can see the forest spread beyond him, the blue line that was a river, and above the vast sky that feels closer yet still so far away. Had it been morning or evening, he thinks he can pinpoint the horizon. He could hear a laugh. Who's laughing? Ash doesn't care. He was too enamored with the view. It doesn't take long before he spotted something. A hut. Hey! I think someone lived there. He shouted amidst the wind, pointing at the settlement. Lance peered over Ash's shoulder. Huh? Is all he said, before steering Dragonite down. Steven did the same with Skarmory. Ash meeped when they descending down. If ascending was adrenaline bumping, descending is worse. Riding a flying Pokemon is really something. It was both terrifying and amazing. His respect for his companions increased because they were totally calm and confident. They landed near the hut. Lance dismounted first before helping Ash. Again, curse the height difference. Ash really hope he got tall soon. Who do you think living here? He asked to no one in particular. Lance thinking about it. No idea. Ranger. There's only one way to find out. Steven knocked on the door. Knock knock. No one answered. Maybe it is abandoned? Suggested Ash. No. Steven shook his head. This place was too clean and well maintained for an abandoned hut. Maybe they're out? Try again. Suggested Lance. Knock knock. Ash feels like numerous eyes were staring at him. At them. That was just his imagination, right? The place is empty and barren from life. Or maybe it was just curious, but incredibly shy wild Pokemon. Yeah. Must be that. Knock knock. Kriuk. The door swung open, but before Ash could see who it was, Lance pulled him down, flat with the earth FWOOSH. A barrage of razor leaf passed above them. Had Haysil sanding, they would get hit for sure. Ash lifted his head and saw a group of displeased Pokemon was glaring at him. Led by an angry-looking Bulbasaur. Steven, get over here. Dragonite, barrier. Commanded Lance. Dragonite stood before them and create a spherical barrier. The incoming attack was blocked, which was, thank Arceus, because Flamethrower was one of those. Ash didn't know Slowpoke can use Flamethrower. Skarmory, metal sound. Following Steven's command, the steel type opened its wings and let out a horrible, nerve-grating screech that made all Pokemon except itself and Dragonite flinched and covered their ears in pain. So do Ash, actually. DMN. That sound was utterly horrible. Effective, but horrible. Let's wrap it. Dragonite, Thunderwave. Weakened version. The attacking Pokemon quickly fell down. Groaning in pain with static danced on their body. Only the Bulbasaur still standing and bearing the pain. It sure is tough. Think again, Grass type is resistant to electricity, and Lance did order a weakened version, so that was given. Still, even though the Bulbasaur still standing, it was paralyzed and has a hard time moving. Alright. I think that's enough. Dragonite let go of the dome, now that the battle is over. Then shall we ow? A pebble hit him on the head. What was that? They turned to see a girl with dark blue hair wearing overall was throwing rocks at them. An oddish sitting on her head. I won't let you. She declared. I won't let you steal them, you poachers. Eh? Poachers? Croaked Steven. Miss, wait, we. No. You won't sway me. Oddish. Use acid. Oh, dear. X. I see. The girl, who apparently called Melanie, stated with a sympathetic look. So you were lost in MT Moon and end up taking the wrong tunnel out. That must be rough. After a rough introduction, the four of them sitting inside the house. A square table separates the boys from her. Melanie explained that they were in a hidden village, a sanctuary for Pokemon until they are ready to go back to the wild. Indeed. Steven nodded. It was fortunate we found this place, otherwise we would be even more lost. Behind him, Ash sitting mulishly. Earlier she attacked us, now she's friendly. He said in low voice, only Lance who sat next to him can hear it. That was a drastic change. Well, that's women for you, Lance whispered back. The Bulbasaur giving them both dirty looks. That being said, do you know where this? I believe my friends and I may need some help with directions. Our map is practically useless if we don't know the current location. Well, the closest town is Cider Town. Lance perked up. I know that place. That was close to the end of Route 24 and beginning of Route 25. Let it be known that the reason he knows it was because he's a fan of their cider's product. Chili cider is one of his favorite drinks for a casual evening. Route 24, huh? Steven tried to remember the map. That was North Cerulean, right? And Route 25 is next to Route, then they weren't too far from their destination. Thank you. That was very helpful. You're welcome, Melanie replied. Are you planning to go now? Can you? Never mind. What is it? Ash asked. Is there something we can help? Is it all right? Well, think of it as our way to apologize for showing up suddenly and freaking everyone here. Melanie hesitated. Well, if it's fine with you, can you please buy some food and medicine from the town? My supplies are running low. I was planning to buy some but... At this, Lance winced. Ouch. Now he's feeling guilty. I don't mind. He said. But may I see what supplies you usually had? Just so we know what to buy. Melanie, hesitated but compliant, led them to her usual storage room. Lance frowned when he saw how small it was, and the lack of some necessary stuff. When Melanie rattled off a list of things she usually buys, his frown deepened. Only enough Pokemon food to last a month or so, and some potions just in case. And that is. No paralysis heal, no burn heal, no freeze heal. And the potions are basic, the cheapest kind that cost only 700 poke dollar. It was as if she didn't have enough budget. He also notices that her pantry is almost empty. Come to think of it. She didn't have a medicine kit box or fire extinguisher. And there is no phone to contact the local authority in case something happens. It was strange. Miss, he called. Not being rude or what, but your stuff are quite lacking for a Pokemon sanctuary. Have you ever thought to contact the Ranger Union or someone? Melanie winces. This, she stammered. This is not official sanctuary. She admitted. I built it myself. The Ranger Union did not know about this. Ah. That explains it. Building and managing a Pokemon sanctuary, or any Pokemon daycare center for that matter, is not easy. First, you need money. A lot of money to feed all the Pokemon and buying medicine. Not to mention if an accident happens, such as the wall knocked off or if there's a hole in the room, or if the furniture were destroyed or in need of replacing. And contacts. Memorizing the numbers of local Jenny, the nearest Poke Center, the closest gym leader, as well Ranger Union public service number in case a horde of poacher coming in, or if a natural disaster such as forest fire happens. That begs the question, why didn't you legalize it? It doesn't take much. It's not that easy. Is it? He never knew. Well, if worst comes to happen, then he has no qualm exercising his authority. It was not an abuse of power if he did it for something good and didn't step out of line. Yep. That's what he would do. That being said, hey, Ash? Can I ask you a favor? X. Okay. This spot is done. Ash said, wiping the sweat. Good job everyone. The Pokemon let out cheers. It has been half an hour since Steven and Lance went to buy Melanie her groceries. Ash was left behind at Lance's request to help her out and as extra protection. Just in case there's some trouble. Melanie is good, but she only one person. She deserves a break after taking care of the Pokemon for who knows how long. So, Ash being helpful here. He saw a dirty room, he cleans it. No, he doesn't like cleaning. He does it if it's a must. And this is a must. Because this is the polite thing to do. Sorry for being a bother. Melanie apologizes. She had gone to the kitchen to make drinks and some refreshments. Nah, it's fine. Ash downed the glass in one go. This is kinda fun, actually. He doesn't know Whirlpool can be used that way. Or bubbles. Or water gun. And sliding on the floor with rags looks fun. Sandshrew totally enjoyed that. Speak of that, though. Where is Bulbasaur? One would think the grass type would join. Or at least act as supervisor, but no. Ash didn't see him anywhere. Where could he be? Oh. He's outside. Sulking. Why would he sulking? Shouldn't he be, dunno, happy? Melanie's face darkened. Would you come with me? Confused, Ash does as requested. Melanie brought him to the front porch so that Ash can see the Pokemon that were playing with each other or simply relaxed. It was a nice sight and he pities Lance and Steven for missing this. Ash, what do you think of this? Of the whole hidden village? It's peaceful, answered Ash. Relaxing. It's nice. No battling, no trying to get a deadline done, just having fun and relaxing. Looking at them was peaceful and nice. In a way, Ash was glad they took the wrong exit and ended here, otherwise, they won't know this little gem exists. It's not always like this, Melanie said softly. It used to be chaos. Those Pokemon, they were not wild Pokemon. At least the majority of them are not. They were abandoned Pokemon. Released by their trainers for some reason. Ash chokes at her word. They were scared and angry and confused. It was so plain as day, I don't need to understand Pokespeak to know how they're feeling. It took me months to earn their trust, and years to build this up. Bulbasaur was among those abandoned, and believe me or not, he was one of the worst ones. Melanie still remembers when they first met. Bulbasaur's bulb was small, full of wrinkles, and almost brown. Wilting away. Took her months of nourishing him diligently until it was no longer half dead. With that kind of background, Bulbasaur didn't have much trust in humans. He doesn't like your presence, even if you were being helpful. But since others accept it, he can't do anything because you didn't do anything dangerous or harmful. The word, not yet, went unsaid. He's frustrated and went to sulking. Ash was silent for a moment. Mourning those poor Pokemon. Can I talk to Bulbasaur? It was not like I can stop you, but I don't recommend you so. Bulbasaur gets attack happy when he's frustrated. That is fine. Melanie hesitated but pointed him to the area where Bulbasaur usually sulking. It was deeper into the forest, but not too deep. Just enough if one wants to be alone. True. Ash found him sulking on a stone. Bulbasaur. A wine whip cracked and hit Ash in the head. A little too close to his eye. It was such a powerful attack, it tore his skin and left blood dripping down his face. Bulbasaur hissed in anger. His whip was out and ready to lash. Ash bites his tongue to prevent hissing. He instead unclasped his utility belt, making sure to drop all Pokeballs he had, empty. The ones containing his Pokemon were at Melanie's hunt, and for some good measure dropped off his jacket and raised his hands. Show that he was unarmed and harmless. I'm not capturing you, or harming you, he said, forcing the whine and pain out from his voice. Can I keep you company? Bulbasaur growled but retracted his vine. Ash took it as permission and sat against a tree bark not far from the Pokemon. Both human and Pokemon maintained eye contact, watching each other for a move or gestures. The silence stretched. Being preteen he is, Ash broke out the silence first. You're a protector, aren't you? A survivor and a protector. He spoke softly. Bulbasaur narrows his eyes. Melanie told me what happened. Why you attack me? Can't say I didn't deserve that coming. He raised a hand and wiped the blood from his eyes. You know? Pikachu had shocked me multiple times. In fact, when we first meet, the first thing he did was shock me. Still did. Heck, yesterday he shocks me again for accidentally stepped on his tail. Bulbasaur snorted as if saying, you deserve it. Hey! How I'm supposed to know? The tunnel was dark and the flashlight runs out of battery. Good thing Steven brought spares. Still, being whipped is new. Bulbasaur looks at him strangely. What I want to say is, your previous trainer. They are dumb. No. All trainers who abandon their Pokemon are dumb. If the release was because the Pokemon wished it, or if the two of them better off without each other, then fine. But abandonment is just wrong. Waiting and not knowing when they will come back. Waiting is lonely and boring and can be hurt. Bulba. I'm not trying to change your mind. I just don't like the whole abandoning Pokemon gimmick. He only has his Pokemon in less than 2 months, and if anything happens to them, Ash will be very angry. I think if I see someone abandon a Pokemon, I'll punch them. No question asked. Speak of that. Wish I can know what you were saying. Maybe you can describe your deadbeat dumbass of a former trainer so if I meet them I can deck them, genderbeat med. Well, busting the ball if they're a guy. Bulbasaur snorted. Now that was a hilarious image. I'm serious, said Ash. I don't care if I get in trouble with Officer Jenny. It totally worth it. Ash was very sure his jaw lays on the ground. Pikachu stood behind his legs and gripping his pants tightly, almost to the point of ripping them off. Well, Ash didn't blame him because this is a truly gulp big Dragonite. It was more of a whimper than a statement. Lance, you never told me a dragonite can grow this big. Even Steven was weak-sounding. Even I don't know a dragonite can grow this big, Lance stated. He can't decide whether he should be impressed or envious. And I'm Dragon Master from Longline Clan dealing with dragons. He whirled around and turned to Bill. Explains. Now. Yes. It best started from the beginning. Let's recount. First, when the trio of them reached Cider Town, Lance got a call from someone, saying that someone named Bill was having a serious problem with a dragonite. It was unclear whether the dragonite was Bill's or a wild Pokemon. Still, since Lance was a dragon master, and this was a request from a well-known researcher, it was for the best that they go straight for the big gun. That, and since he won't be available unless for emergency and shoved his paperwork on others, he should do some fieldwork to make up for it. Lance was amused that Mission Control informed him when he just reached route, you can go ahead to Vermilion if you want to. He told others. Steven declined because Bill is quite a well-known scientist with various specializations under his name. He might be of help, so he didn't have much objection. Ash? As long as I earn all the badges and register for the league before it was over, I don't care how many detours it'll take. It would be like an adventure. Yep. The kid has no concern about getting lost or derailed. Ah, to be a kid. Alright, so we are having a detour to the Cape at route according to info. Bill lived near Lighthouse, at the Cape on the end of Route 25. He paused. Brave man, he is. He is not exaggerating. Only brave soul dares to live that close to Kanto's eastern sea. Ash frowned. Route he thinks he read something about that. Something about East Kanto and harbor. Are there any harbor in East Kanto? Nope. Lance shook his head. Eastern Sea has dangerous current, high cliff, and nary an even ground. If there was, it would be filled with rocks. Not suitable for harbor or port town. Even the towns and villages there are further into the land with a distance between the settlement and the coastline. For the east area with relatively tame waves, well, the land structure is sedimentary. The house there must have pillar support so it won't sink. Docks for fishermen is possible, but big harbor for in-region or international shipping. Forget it. Hence, Route 12 is not a road on land, but a long bridge with a strong foundation structure that got checked once in 2 or 3 years. Steven nodded. Aha. So that's why the harbor were mostly at south with few located on west and none at east while north is self-explanatory. Ash could see why. North Kanto is a mountain range. There was a semi-independent kingdom located there with a known path on land. Wonder if he can visit that kingdom someday. Maybe when the league season is over, yeah. For now, focus on things happening for now. Even if it was hard. There are so many things to see, to pay attention to. Even with 2 days traveling, particularly because they cover most of the distance with flying. Let's see. The Pokemon. There are Pidgeys, Oddish, Weedle, and Kakuna line, no Beedrill on site thank Ho-Oh, Bellsprout line. Ash could swear he saw an Abra. He was a tad annoyed that he didn't have enough time to see the Pokemon but he can't blame his companions. They were in hurry. Lance is worried about the Dragonite. That, and the rain season is approaching. Better they reach their destination before heavy rain, or worse a storm hit them. No one likes to be soaked to the bone. Which is why they are relieved to arrive at the lighthouse in the late afternoon when the clouds start to gather together. Dark clouds at that. Knock knock. Lance was the one who knocked on the door. It was his mission after all. Ash and Steven were just tag-alongs. The person who opens the door has dark hair and wearing a faded purple shirt and jeans under a lab coat. He looks weary. Yes? He asks tentatively. Who are you? Lance's reply was to slick his bangs back. It was a simple action, yet it was more than enough to send the coat-wearing man sagged in relief. I thought they were kidding when they said you were coming. He pushed the door wide and stepped back. I'm Bill, thank you for coming this far. Please come in. The weather doesn't look friendly. With a low voice, he added, I don't know if that was a good thing or a bad thing. Unfortunately, Ash heard him. What do you mean? Bill grimaced. That, he bites his lips. I'll show you later. When it's darker. Is this had something to do with your problem with a Dragonite? Lance quipped. Speak of that, is it wild or is it yours? Mine. And yes. It related to Dragonite. Bill nodded. When it's storming, there's not much light, so it's safe to see her. Okay. What's wrong with Dragonite that it must be dark if they want to see the Pokemon? Suspicious much, no? Was it shiny or something or what? But if it's just shiny, then why call for help? Does he have trouble with poachers? Maybe. Ash was grateful he didn't have top many encounters, or he will have to fend off many people probing about his sandshrew. A few hours later, and a storm was raging outside. Ash could just feel the tremor on the ground when the wave hit the cliff. Bill led them to the lighthouse, climbing up the stairs till they reached the top, where the lamp was placed. The second he opens the door to the balcony-like area, Ash shivered as cold wind and rain hit his face. "All right." Lance raised his voice, otherwise, it would drown under the storm. "Where is your dragonite?" "Give me a moment." Bill shouted back. He moved the lamp and did something with it. Was it a code? Yeah, it was. He flicked the lamp on and off in a certain code. W-O. The ground shook. An earthquake? Then something rises from the sea. It rose higher. And higher. And higher. And higher. Until it was on eye level at them, who was on the top floor in the lighthouse. The thunder oh so helpfully offered to become light when it thundered and crashed behind the giant thing. A giant dragonite staring down at them. So, giant Pokemon was a thing. Somehow they were back at Bill's house, at his study room. Ash was very surprised and pleased that his pants aren't wet, beyond the area where the rain hit. Lance wasted no time grilling Bill. "Okay, first, how come your dragonite reached that size? What did you feed it with?" "See?" He was freaking out. "I have seen my fair share of above the average size mons, but not to this extent. Even a Tyranitar is tiny compared to that giant. Is this genetic? But if so, then similar cases should have been noted down in history." Scratch freaking out. He was close to shaking Bill till his bones fell off. No. It was not normal. Bill sighed. He opens a drawer and pulled out stuff. A rock thingy and a wristband with a polished stone. "I received these from my colleagues who's worked in Galar." He began to tell his story. In Galar, there's a something called Dynamax phenomenon. It was a phenomenon where a Pokemon was able to grow into giant size. Like Dragonite. The thing is, it was exclusively in Galar and in Galar alone. Or so I think. But your Dragonite was able to. Ash pointed out. I know. See, Dynamax did not happen willy-nilly. There's a certain requirement. First, it must be happening in Dynamax spot. Even in Galar, the location to Dynamax spot is not even. I heard one of its recently made major cities did not have Dynamax spot. Second, to deliberately trigger Dynamax, a trainer needs something, and that something is this. He pointed at the item he pulled out. This stone is called Wishing Star. It was a special material from Galar who is seldom found and able to trigger the Dynamax phenomenon. I have one in its unpolished form and one in wristband form. They are very expensive. My colleague said if not for the fact. He was part of the scientist team there, he has to pay an arm, a leg, and a kidney. Apparently, the samples he sends over were among the oldest ones found. Steven stared at both wishing stars with an intense look. Interesting. He mused, tentatively touching the stone. It was not normal stone, no? No. Bill nodded. It was not. We don't know where it originated from, only that it tied to Galar's old legend. One that exists for roughly 1,000 years. Something about meteorite from outer space that angered Galar's legendary Pokemon. Maybe the stone is the remaining shards of the said meteor, maybe it was the material that was infused by Galar's legendary. Just that, from what the scientists there found, it has similar wavelengths to Dynamax spot, which played part in how it able to trigger a Dynamax phenomenon. He pulls some papers and slid them over. Lance and Steven make a non-committal hum as they read it. Curious, Ash leaned over to see it, but he quickly gets a headache. He can't read the graphs. And the whole science mumbo-jumbo jargons. And language. He recognizes them as Unovan. Maybe Galarian and Unovan are not that different, but his Unovan are still rough on the edge. He can only read small, simple sentences in Unovan, not thesis like that. Then, Lance looked up. How did the Dragonite? Bill just sighed. I was given 3 samples. She was snooping in when I write my report. I heard a swallowing sound. When I turned, there were only 2 samples left. Dragonite then was shaking like crazy as she starts to glow and grow bigger. Next thing we know. Giant Dragonite. Ash finished. As if things can't get any stranger, we can't do anything to destabilize the phenomenon, leave alone reverse engineer it. The effect was continuously on, unless when she's unconscious like sleeping or knocked out. Ah. No wonder Bill called help. He was at his wit's end. Think again, anyone in his shoes would. May I touch the wishing star? Steven asked. Ah. Yes. But please don't mess with them. One giant Pokemon is more than enough. With Bill's permission, Steven tentatively poked the material. He furrowed his brows. Based on what you said, this wishing star act in a similar manner to Dynamax spot, but in lesser degree. Could it be? He mumbles. Yeah. That could be it. Or, mumble. Steven, buddy, if you had an idea, share it with the class. Give me a moment, Steven mumbles some bit more before nodding. All right. I think I get it. Wishing Star and Dynamax Spot are connected. Wishing Star could trigger a Dynamax phenomenon without a Dynamax Spot, as it contains whatever energy that causes the phenomenon to happen. However, the chance of it happening was low. Several digits in the coma, I say. The reason was while it contains power, it was dormant. To harvest that energy, an outside influence, a trigger, is needed. Call it a power bank, if you may. On its own, Wishing Star won't do anything, but if triggered, it can cause Dynamax phenomenon to happen. But what trigger it? Bill asked. Dragonite's energy. Steven looks outside, where he knows where Dragonite was watching them anxiously. Each Pokemon has them. Let's say a core. That core produces energy that makes it possible to them to use non-physical moves that bend physics. My bet was the Wishing Star got lodged somewhere in Dragonite's body, close to that core, and that's our problem here. Ah? Lance snapped his finger. I get it. Dragonite produces energy that the core generated, which triggers the Wishing Star. The energy generated differs between awake and asleep. When awake it was enough to trigger the phenomenon, but when asleep the output is too low and not enough, hence, Dragonite refers back to her normal size, right? I see. Bill looks ready to cry. Thank you, he sobbed. Now I get it. All we need is to take the stone out. Ash raised his hand. How are we doing that? Yeah. The biggest question is how. Lance grimaced. There's a surgery option. And I know that Celadon Hospital is qualified. He doesn't like seeing a Pokemon cuts open, especially dragons, but this is an emergency. So, if we knock out Dragonite long enough to reach there and until the operation is over, then it might be possible. I don't have any Pokemon who can use Sing or Sleep Powder or Hypnosis, Bill confessed. Do any of you? Nope. Lance shook his head. Same here. Added Steven. They turned to Ash, who stared back before sighed in defeat. Butterfree could. He relented. Lance beamed up. Thank you, Ash. I'll return Butterfree once we get that stupid stone out of Dragonite's stomach. Just be careful. I don't know how potent Butterfree's sleep powder is, or if it would have any effect at Dragonite. You know. Melanie poured the tea. I don't think you two would be coming back. Is this going to be a reoccurring thing? Only if we're in the area. Steven smiled. It was Ash's idea, actually, seeing they were back on this very route on their way to Cerulean. How are you holding up here? Manageable. Admitted Melanie. It's getting easier, now that I have reliable help. The Rangers plan to build a special building to act as a nest and place to keep the eggs safe since according to a Pokemon doctor, some of the Pokemon are PRGNNT. We need to build an electricity generator first, though. Hopefully, the construction will be fast. Because the incubator needs electricity to keep running, using batteries seems to be not efficient unless there is an emergency. True that there are Growlithe among not quite wild Pokemons, but better safe than sorry. That's nice. It's good that Melanie accepted the help. How about the Pokemon? Hopefully, there are no more. Excitable greetings. Bulbasaur sulked a lot, but he didn't do anything. Many Pokemon opens up, once they talked with Ranger's Pokemon, but not him. He stays by himself and avoids people. Bulbasaur seems to be the one with an attitude problem, huh? Can't be helped. Bulbasaur line is Kanto's grass starter and they are bred carefully in special breeding centers. Unlike other Pokemons who were probably wild before caught by some trainers and then released. So his abandonment hurt deeper. It begs the question, who the idiot fool who abandons a Pokemon like Bulbasaur? That was why that surprises me. Yes. Steven looks out of the window and sees Ash chatting animatedly at the grass type. The Bulbasaur was grumpy as ever, but he let Ash and his Pokemons gather around him. Heck, he might even subconsciously indulges that shiny Sandshrew. When did he catch it, using the vines? That grumpy Ursaring takes Ash's presence so well, it was amazing. He really wants to know, what did Ash do to gain Bulbasaur's trust? It must be happening when he and Lance were going out shopping. And make a call to Kanto Ranger Union regarding the village's existence. Are you going to stay for the night? Well, yeah. Considering it was late. Steven doesn't want Ash to get sick for pulling an all-nighter. Not to mention it will be dangerous. Nocturnal Pokemon ambush might be solved if your Pokemon is battle-ready. But tripping over a rock, walking to a tree, or fell into a hole, river, or whatever. That was a problem. Not to mention there's a rather frail and narrow bridge on the way. Oh. And Beedrill's nest. Can't forget that one. I don't have a guest bedroom. I don't think we would ever have a guest. But if I clean up the living room then maybe there will be enough space. But what about the mattress? I don't. Don't worry, miss. Steven reassuring her. I have bedroll. If anything, I should be ashamed of troubling you. You're my guest. It was host's duty to be hospitable. X. It starts off innocently. It was the middle of the night. A Growlithe woke up from its sleep and shivered. It went to the forest to relieve its full bladder. Melanie had taught it to not do bathroom business near the house. Someone might get offended. Once the Growlithe has done with its business, it went back to the house. Except on the way back, it was not in hurry, so it takes its time to look at the surrounding. And let out a whimper. In the darkness, everything suddenly becomes different. Scarier. That branch. It looks like a scary claw that threatens to take it away. Like a shadow claw looming on it. Scared, the Growlithe run back to the house, but in its panic, it focused more on scary surroundings and not where its feet landed. The end result, it tripped over a root and skidded over before fell flat on its face. When it raised its head, its complexion turned deathly pale. There standing before it was an old, dead tree, with branches barren of leaves. There were holes on the trunk, a result of some Pokemon using it as a practice target. However, look from the Growlithe point of view, with a full moon shine behind the tree. The light that shone makes the tree looks like a demented thing only Ghost-type would love. A very very scary figure with a wide, toothy evil smile, with dead branches forming horns. In fear-addled mind, the Growlithe failed to see it was just a tree and not a Ghost-type or anything else. Panicking, it opens its mouth and spits several rather powerful embers at the tree. The attack hit the tree dead on since it was a mere dead tree and not a certain dual grass and Ghost-type Pokemon from another region. However, the Growlithe overdid its attack and some embers hit the grass and other trees. Soon the fire spreads out as smoke rising to the sky. Back at Melanie's house, some Pokemon were roused up from their sleep when they smell smoke. Then they saw smoke in the sky and strange fiery light from the forest. It didn't take long for them to connect the dots, and when they realized it, they began to panic. Barking, screeching and chirping loudly. It was a riot. That riot wakes up the humans. What is this? Melanie runs out. She gasped when she saw the fire from distance. What was that? Ash looked around and noticed something. Where's Growlithe? That jostled everyone surprised and began looking around. When they realized the puppy was nowhere to be seen, they freaked out even more. Was Growlithe inside the fire? Muttered Steven. Was its ability flash fire? I don't know. Why? Because only Pokemon with flash fire ability that won't be harmed by fire. Even if Growlithe is fire type, if it didn't have that ability, there's always a chance it would get hurt by the fire. Everyone paled at that. Then we should just put out the fire, right? Ash suggested. If the fire was gone then no one will get hurt. His words made the water type perked up, before heading towards the fire. Hey! Wait for me! Ash, wait! Too late. Steven cursed. DMN it. They're too reckless. Water gun is not enough to put the fire out. He gets back inside to get Pokeball before running out. Melanie, keep an eye on the rest. Make sure none of the other Pokemon follows, especially Grass-type and Bug-type. What are you doing? Making sure no one get killed. Running through the forest, Steven almost stumbled over few pebbles and upturned roots. This is one of the reasons he hates going out at night. Too dangerous. Speeding up, Steven arrived at the edge of the fire. He saw several water Pokemon using Water Pulse and Water Gun and as predicted, it gets them nowhere. Ash was standing there, biting his lips in frustration with Pikachu and Sandshrew pacing back and forth around his legs whereas Pidgeotto trying to fly in, only to back away again. Ah, Steven! Ash gasped. You need to listen to what others say first before rushing in. Steven threw the Pokeball and Agron materialize. Agron, Rain Dance. As fast as you can. There is some minor localized earth shaking as Agron began his dance. Soon enough his body glows blue and he shoots a beam to the sky. The previously clear sky suddenly gets dark and cloudy. Pitter-patter. Drops began falling down. In the beginning, it was light, and then it turned heavy. It becomes easy to put out the fire. The rain cover more area than a mere water gun or water pulse can do. Moreover, Rain Dance gives an additional boost to water-type attacks, making them stronger and faster. Soon, even the worst of them start to dying out. All seems well until... Crack! Watch out! Ash! Bam! X! Ash, did you listen to me? What you did was dangerous, you get it? I get it. Geez, how many times are you gonna repeat that? Until I get through your thick skull. Steven swore his heart had just leaped to his throat when Ash rushed towards Growlithe and tackled it away when the heavy branch above it suddenly fall. Most likely no longer able to hold its weight due to the fire and suddenly heavy rain. Thankfully, aside from covered in soot and mud, they were all right. The slap from Bulbasaur was well deserved, though. Steven wonders if Bulbasaur decided to go with Ash is because of the boy's selfless to the point of reckless attitude and thus need a handler, or because he impressed it. Because if it was the latter, then the Pokemon had terrible standard. Abandon notwithstanding. Not saying Ash was a bad trainer or anything. Goodness no. Just that. How he should put it into words without coming off as a JRK or heartless or what? In the end, he just keeps silent about the matter. Hey, what Agron did last night? What was that? It's suddenly raining. Oh, that. That was Rain Dance, a non-offensive water-type move. It summons a rain to the area. Does it work inside a building? It does. Wallace did once use the trick in the Pokemon contest, and the audience wasn't even wet. How? Steven shrugged. I don't know. He taught Agron Rain Dance because Wallace insists on it. He didn't resist, since it becomes useful from time to time. He doesn't know the exact mechanism behind it, though. Try asking water-type trainers. Cerulean's gym is water-type, right? There should be at least one there. Namely the gym leader. Oh, good idea. Ash grinned. That looks good. I wonder if you can learn it, Pikachu. Pika. Steven suddenly had an image of Pikachu summon a rain cloud then use Thundershock. A large amount of water plus Thundershock, ouch. He thinks he feels sorry for the gym. Not only water Pokemon are vulnerable to it, but they have pools, too. Large pools. Lots of them. After the pool gets infused with Thundershock, it can't be used until the water is replaced. Not safe for Pokemon. Unless it's Chinchou and Lantern that were dual electric and water. And draining electric-infused pools would be a pain since they can't just dump the water in the nearest drainage. No. That was asking for trouble. They must filter it carefully. The problem is, Ash's Pikachu has one imperfect technique. If they used it at Cerulean, there are bound to be some damage. Add with electric shock. Let's hope he didn't blow up the gym. En route to Cerulean, they saw a sign that was pointing to a place called Cerulean Cave. It goes without saying Ash and Steven take a quick stop there after asking a local, a man who's fishing in the river, about the lake. Since the other end heading to Cerulean City, if they take a detour there, they still can arrive in Cerulean without having to turn back. The cave feels cool and nice. Ash had to admit it. Spending summer there would be very nice. Too bad he has gyms to tackle. Hopefully, he's in Fuchsia when summer hits. Fuchsia City Beach, right? Click-clack click-clack. Ash hears a clicking sound. It's almost drowned out by river stream noise. Looking back at Steven who's busy inspecting the cave stones, he decided that looking around won't hurt. If something happens then the sound will echoes, anyway, so it's fine. Slipping away, he and Pikachu followed the sounds and saw something that made Ash mad and befuddle at the same time. There was a Krabby. A rather small Krabby compares to others. Ash no. Because that Krabby was surrounded by its kin. It seems like they were bullying it. Yet the Krabby doesn't give up. It fights back. Outnumbered and outsized, it still fought back fiercely. Not only that. It seems to be winning. The little Krabby then notices Ash and clicking its pincer menacingly, as if daring Ash to go at it. Ash smiled and held out his hands. If I lose I give you Pokemon food, if I win you come with me? The Krabby nodded and charging at Ash. The other exit of Cerulean Cave does lead to Cerulean City. Except there's a wide river between them that can be crossed with a boat. Or a Pokemon with teleport. Or big flying type. In a way, it reminds Steven of Sootopolis. Except since that city is literally placed on a separate island from Hoenn mainlands, the distance is much wider and travel time is much longer. Still, it was nice to see the civilization. Not because he missed sleeping in real beds, well, he did but that wasn't important, but because Ash somehow manages to acquire new injuries when Steven is not looking. Granted it was only shallow cuts and hair trimming but by Rayquaza, that boy is hellbent on driving him nuts. Was he ever this bad when he was a child? He could think of some instances where his father phoned him to drop off his antics or get grounded. Those were days when public phones and dial-ups were the rages. Either way. First destination, Poke Center. Ash swears up and down he treated his injuries, but Steven would prefer a professional looking over it, in case of infection or something. Not helping the fact, Ash was reckless like toros in a china shop. It was as if the boy was incapable to stay put unless he feels like it, which was rare. The more he told to stay in one place, the more likely he's going to wander around and get in all sort of trouble. The Poke Center was not too busy but it sure was crowded. Some trainers are smiling and laughing around as they brandish their teardrop-shaped badge. Was that Cerulean Gym's badge? So many trainers who won that badge. Curious. Had the trainers picking up pace and start challenging gyms already? But even so, so many trainers win the same badge in a short time is kinda a bit too much. Or Steven was just overthinking it. Maybe those trainers have type advantage Pokemon and win the badge in a fair fight. Speak of that, are you going to use Pikachu in battle? To his surprise, Ash shook his head. Nope, he said. Pikachu had battled in pewter, so he will sit this one out. I'm planning to use Pidgeotto, and the second I kinda lean to Krabby. You have Bulbasaur. Yeah, but I don't know if he wants to battle Jim so soon after joining us. I mean, he did stay by himself during mealtime, right? True. Plus, I don't know if he can swim or not. Water-type Jim must have large pools since their Pokemon lives in the water. Krabby at least could swim. That I'm certain of. Which is why Sandshrew is no. That would mean you won't have an advantage or disadvantage. An equal footing. Won't it be fun and challenging? Ash beamed. Plus this way I won't relying on a certain Pokemon for all my matches. Steven can only shake his head at that. Ash is weird in an amusing way. He didn't take the easy way out. He takes it the hard way. It could be useful later, though, since it would force him to think creatively and not follow what they call textbook example. Gyms usually take it easy for a trainer with 0 to 3 badges. Showing newbie trainers the ropes. The real challenge usually starts from the 4th badges and above. The exception was to senior trainers or trainers who take part in gym battles in the previous season. They already know the basics and their skills have been proven. Even more, if they made it far in the league. I don't know what Pokemon the gym leader use, but I'm sure Pidgeotto can handle them. Her talons are sharp and flying gives her an easier time to dodge attacks. Gotta practicing dodging, though. We don't have much time to train on the way. Ash mused, remembering something from MT Moon incidents. Powerful attack is useless if you miss. Maybe dive bombing to attack? Would be a nice practice for Steel Wings. He needs to think of something for Krabby. The Crab Pokemon was a recent addition to his team, but he had a chance to become a powerhouse. The problem is how Ash gonna trains him? Against fellow Water-type to boot. Getting close and use his pincher as a weapon? Wait. What is Kanto Water-type again? Squirtle line. Hard Shell. Yikes. There's hoping the gym doesn't have a Pokemon from that line. Next. Poliwag, Poliwhirl, Poliwrath. Okay. Manageable. Then Magikarp? Yikes. Magikarp itself is harmless but Gyarados is a beast. Gotta watch out for that one. Another. What else? .sh? Ash? Hello? Earth to Ash, anyone here? Ash snapped out from his mumbling and smiled sheepishly. Sorry, caught up in my mind. Thinking my battle plan. A scoff made them turn to a trainer who stood not far from them. Ash scowled. What? You don't need a plan. What does that means? That guy didn't look down on him, did he? He better not. You don't need a plan. Heck, you don't even need to battle to get the badge. Okay. That was unexpected. What? What do you mean by battle is not necessary? Steven. Ash was about to ask that. Was Cerulean Gym Challenge was something else? Nah. Nope. You see. The gym leaders are the Waterflower Sensational Sisters. Wait. Plural? There can be more than one gym leader at the same time? Actually there are 4 but the last one is Runt so she's unimportant. She is not the official gym leader, after all. Was this guy want to get slapped or what? Because of something, lately the Sensational Sisters handing out badges to anyone who asks it. Basically, you can just ask the badge and without battling for it. There are so many emotions and words swirling in the mind upon that revelation. So many. It was best summarized like this. What? X. Oh, you're here for a badge? Troublesome. Here. Your badge. Ash was staring at the handout badge with disgust and anger on his face. Once they got their Pokemon completely checked up and healed, they waste no time marched at the gym to confirm the rumor. Only to find that, yes. It was not a rumor but a fact. A fact spread around. Hell. One of the gym leaders shoved a badge on him. Without thinking, Ash slapped away the hand that holds the badge. The thing fell over with a soft clank. Hey, what gives? What gives? What gives you say? You just insult me DMN it. The fact she thinks Ash didn't even deserve to challenge the gym and straight out handing badge insults him. Did she pity him? Ash did not need that misplaced pity. When I come to gym I expect a battle. I expect a challenge. I don't care what kind of challenge so long it's a challenge. But no, you don't even let me try and straight out giving badges. Do you think I'm weak or pathetic or what? Were you lots looking down on me? What does she think he is? A charity case? The blonde sister frowned. Look kid, I get what you want, but our Pokemon are not fit for battle. The earlier trainers totally wiped our team so we don't have Pokemon for battles anymore. Liar. Steven's voice was calm and cutting like a knife. You don't have Pokemon left? What about your show Pokemon? You hold water show. You must have some perfectly healthy Pokemon for that. Also, the Poke Center is just 2 blocks over. Even if it was busy, surely Nurse Joy and Chansey has time to heal your Pokemon to full health. His expression was ice cold and terrifying. Ash would be scared, had he wasn't too angry to feel fear. Well. The blue-haired sister stammered. They are show Pokemon, they aren't meant for battles. Pardon my language, but that was a load of Tauros shit. Holy. He's swearing. He must be said like hell. Not even MT Moon incident made him swearing out loud. So long Pokemon no minimum 1 attack move, they are credible for battle. As the trainer, all you need is putting your mind into it. The last sister sighed. But battling is boring. Ash gaped. She didn't. For the love of Ho-Oh, please tell him she didn't say it and mean it. It was boring and monotone. The show is much more fun to do. Let me clarify things. You claim you only have the show Pokemon and no battle Pokemon. And you prefer holding your ballet show instead of taking your job as gym leaders? Steven twitched before he calmed down. Ash feels a shiver down his spine when a strange, chilly smile appears on Steven's face as he clapped his hands together. In other words, you three are lazy girls who just want to have fun and benefit from being gym leaders and none of the responsibility of it. Ouch. It wasn't even aimed at Ash but DMN. That burns. Rostberry. Does he have Rostberry? The expression on three lazy girls was so DMN satisfying and priceless to look at, though. You dare to slander us? Slander means I'm speaking lies. I'm not lying here. You said it yourselves. All I do is summarize it. I'll have you and your friend banned from Cerulean Gym. I tell this to Officer Jenny. Steven pet his head. You want to take me on the court and fight me there? His chilly smile turned into a sharp grin. Bring it on, ladies. I'm not scared. I apologize for my outburst earlier. Ash waved his hand. 'Tis fine. He said. Hell, I'm probably doing the same thing. What the hell those crazy girls were doing? Handing out badges? More focusing on show rather than gym? Calling battles boring? Were they gym leaders or not? I can understand why they prefer performing than battling. Ash turned to Steven with a WTF look and about to rant. Steven didn't let him. Listen to me first. Back in Hoenn, there is something called contests. It was competitions where trainers showing off their Pokemon and not in the how strong the Pokemon is aspect. Roughly speaking, it was a league-like competition that focusing on Pokemon appearance. Some people also averse to battling, so whether they like battle or performing more is a personal preference. But you're angry, so why? Because they just offend me on a personal level. Ash jumped at the outburst. The plastic bottle fell off the table. Steven looks very angry. No. He is as angry as he looks. He was clenching his fist really hard, his knuckles turned white. My best friend. He's a coordinator, what we called performance-oriented trainer as. However, it didn't stop him from being Sootopoly's gym leader. He didn't sacrifice his duty as gym leader for his passion as coordinator, or vice versa. He is a top coordinator and a powerful gym leader at the same time. He proves that you can do both so long you are committed to it. The Waterflower sisters. If they can't do both, then they should let one go. If they can't do their job as gym leaders, then they should retire and let someone else handling the gym. At this rate, they're not only destroying the Cerulean Gym's reputation but also their own reputation and bring shame to Kanto League as a whole. What was Lance thinking, letting incompetent people rule over a gym? Steven. What worse was that Sootopoly's is also water-type gym. How am I not supposed to be angry? His Pokemon popped out from their ball to comfort their trainer. The older male sighed wearily and leaned to the group hug, hands covering his face. I'm sorry. I usually not this easy to lose my composure, I swear. They offend me on a personal level, whether they realize it or not. Ash hesitantly nodded. Wow. Whoever this friend, he must be very important to Steven. Well, then. Topic. What to talk about? They threatened to call Officer Jenny on you. What are you gonna do? What should we do now? Oh, that? Steven removed his hand and gave Ash a grin. Don't worry. Leave it to me. I've been handling things like this more than enough times. I know what I should do and who to call. My job requires me well versed in law, after all. Ash was not convinced. But if Steven claims he can handle it, then as we'll trust him. Well, okay then. I'm going to walk around. Try to not get into any more trouble. Ash rolled his eyes good-naturedly at that. Come on. He is not a troublemaker. He didn't cause trouble. Much. He just wants to look around the city. It was different from Pewter City or Pallet Town, and he wants to find a water-type trainer who didn't make him angry so he can ask about rain dance inside a building thing. And ask what else water-type Pokemon Kanto had. On second thought, he has Pokédex. Stupid him. Also, doesn't Cerulean Gym, though it was less gym and more of a show-off place, was decorated with many water-type Pokemon? Guess that's where he gonna start. If he wasn't mistaken, there's a big Dugong statue picture whatever. So that's a start. Dugong and its pre-evolution state, seal. Next is. Oh yeah, Staryu and Starmie. Then Goldeen and Seaking. Horsia, Seadra, and King Thud. Ow! Pikachu snickered. Ash just glared at him as he rubbed his forehead. Ow, walking into a tree isn't fun. If it's fun then everyone would walk into trees all the time. A feminine voice remarked. Ash looked ahead and saw someone he recognizes. Ah, the bug-hating carrot girl. Ash dodge a mallet. Whoa. Where did that come from? Who do you call bug-hating carrot girl? She screeches. You. I mean, you hate bugs so much you scream my ears off back when we are in Viridian Forest, and your hair is like a traffic cone. The whole Viridian Forest trip was very memorable. Misty seethed. You're a little sheet. Feel free to blame the sensational sister for pissing me off. Ash's voice was way too cheery with an equally fake grin as he made quotations mark. Okay. What did they do now? Handing out badges as if I was a charity case. Deadpanned Ash. That was an insult, you know? Steven is said, too. Like, really said. I think he declares war in the court. Heck, he even yelling. Misty's shoulder sagged. I feel you. She sounds pained. Feels like a slap to the face every time I see that. No matter what I say, they won't listen. It doesn't help a while ago there's a break-in and some thieves attempt to steal the Pokemon, only to be foiled by a trainer and his Pokemons, and make the already low interest in gym plunge even lower. At this rate, the Cerulean Gym will be razed to the ground, especially if your friend won. Yeesh. And here I was worked up to challenge the gym and ask about technicalities behind some moves. Disappointed doesn't even begin to describe what Ash was feeling. Misty pet an eyebrow. What move? Rain dance. I have so many questions about that move. The orange-haired girl hummed. You know, I never got a chance to whip your butt for your rude comments. She said. How about this? Let's have a Pokemon battle, but instead of paying money, the loser do a favor to the winner. Ash thought about it. Sure. Why not? So long it was nothing humiliating. Good.
Okay, sadly the chapter is over. And if you enjoyed the video just leave a like and subscribe with post notification. So when the next chapter is ready, you will be notified. Okay, see you in the next video. Bye.